So now,
we get
to the big one.
Okay. Yeah, this is like, I mean like Gen 4, but Gen 5 was still really, really good.
Really good.
Really, really good.
Really good.
Do you like Gen 4
Really,
over Gen 5?
really. I mean, do we count Mystery Dungeon and Heart Gold and Soul Silver?
No.
No, I'm talking
Probably
main
not.
games.
Okay, probably not.
Okay, I was
Thank
about
God,
to say,
I would have had
'cause
to
I was
slaughter you.
kind of holding onto my pillow there, like, what did he say?
No.
Alright, everyone shut up. Let me tell you about how Generation 5 Pokemon Black and White is the best fucking Pokemon game in the world.
How it saved Owen's life.
I played Pokemon Diamond, and guess what? Guess when my fucking I'm too old for Pokemon phase started happening?
Yeah, same.
Right after that, guess what got me back into it? It was Black and White. And I actually didn't get it on release date. I remember, like, seeing it come out and, like, I knew it was the right thing to stop playing Pokemon. Look at how shit this looks. And then...
I Am All of Me is playing in the background.
And a couple months later, I can't remember fucking what compelled me. I think I was like, I'll never play this game anyway, so let me just look at the final boss. And I remember looking at the final battle, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this? Oh no, it all looks so good. Oh no, I'm gonna have to play. Oh no, I'm gonna have to play Pokemon again. And I went out the next day, and I bought it. And it was a weekend, so for 2 days straight, I did nothing but lie on the couch and play Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Pokemon White.
Yeah, like, for me, I was extremely hyped. When the original trailers were starting to come out, and I saw the footage for it, I'm like, the sprites are actually detailed and moving. I really like the look of the trainers. The style is really cool. Oh, I actually really want this.
Oh my god, see, comparing fucking Lance's, like, Gen 4 sprite to his Gen 5 sprite, it's like, yeah.
So,
let me tell you though,
I got...
it's my...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, it's just Pokemon, like, in the original Black and White, the male trainer has got to be my favorite Pokemon trainer design that they've done.
Absolutely.
I love, I refuse to call him Hilbert, so I'm going to call him Toya.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hilbert is an awful name for someone who's not their children.
Hilbert and Hilda, like, fuck off.
It sounds like a name that would get scratched from Billy and the Giant Egg.
God.
But no, like I was saying, like, I got the game day one myself. It was actually a midnight release I got it because I was that excited. And for that entire night and for the rest of the weekend, like Owen, I played it non-stop and beat it. On the morning of the weekend, I was so into it. And by the time that final boss, like, and the credits hit, I'm like, yep, this is my favorite. This is my favorite Pokemon.
Oh my god. I will say it definitely has the best ending. One of my favorite endings in a game, just in general.
Yeah.
The entire, like, once you hit the Elite Four, it, like, Black and White just has the strongest end game a main series Pokemon game has had, pretty much, like, bar none.
Because it's literally just like, no, fuck that. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. This team is serious. They have a giant castle appearing from the back of the Elite Four, and this is a big deal.
Yeah, okay, I mean, I'm trying to think where I should start. And I think probably the one thing, the start of the game is quite slow.
Yeah.
And I'll happily admit that. But I like it because you get introduced to your town, you get introduced to your friends who actually feel like you're fucking friends, for God's sake. Looks at the next game we're going to talk about.
I don't mind it because of the payoff in the end.
Yeah.
And even regardless of the slow start in the beginning, like the way it goes after that, it's like, oh my god, it keeps throwing you these different things. It's like Pokemon's never done that. They've never done
Yeah.
this.
I get,
Well,
and
one criticism I do hear about like the friends in particular is that they feel like really unrelated to the main story, and it's like, well, it's pretty much how the rivals always been.
They're having their own adventures. Y'all
Yeah.
take your fucking first steps at the same time. That's the whole. It's like you're all going on your adventure at the same time, and that's especially Bianca, because she finds out, and it's quite. It's kind of it's mature for a Pokemon game,
Mhm.
and not everyone can go off and be like the best fucking trainer
No.
there is.
This game and Gen 7 does this weird thing where it almost kind of recognizes how much of a force of nature the fucking player character is. Because like
he's
you
unstoppable.
constantly, because like you constantly beat the mill rival Sharon, and he gets fucking fed up with it.
He's like, fuck this.
He's like, why the fuck can't I beat you? This is stupid.
I studied for so long. I know everything. Come on. What am I missing?
Sharon as well goes for a really good arc where at first all he wants to get is stronger. That's his only fucking goal. But then he meets the champion of the region, who they just straight up tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a chill guy. They straight up tell you it's him. He meets the champion of the region. He tells him to question why he wants strength, and he does. And then even in the second game, he throws away his powerful team to become a first gym leader. Which I think is pretty perfect.
I love the outcomes of your friends.
Yeah.
So something that hooked me was the first gym. I know it's kind of easy, but you know, this is something they've never done. You've never had different gym leaders based on who you chose for your starter. And yeah, you can get a monkey that can beat the gym, but freaking, you know what? At the same time, it's something that, you know, it can help teach newcomers. It has some pretty sweet battle music. So, you know, it's like for something that's meant to introduce people to a concept, especially newcomers, I felt it was pretty well implemented.
That and like when you hit the first gym and you realize when they get down to their last Pokemon and it plays that triumphant theme of like the last fight there is one of the greatest things the series ever done, and I am really like questioning why it was never brought back.
That is one of the coolest things ever. The last Pokemon, they start playing a different track for it, and that's the main. And that's how I think a main it's pretty much a remix of the main theme. And Gen 7 does this as well, but I mean, I guess we can't talk about that yet, but I think this works so much better because it's not just the main theme. It's actually
if there's one aspect like kind of similar to that in Gen 5's like music that I don't know if I appreciate quite as much, which is the fact when like you in previous games and I think the games after, if you go to Red Health, like you know, you get the beeping sound.
Yeah, it's actually like a song.
And it's actually a song, which at first is like really cool, but like at certain points, like man, I kind of wanted to listen to the actual battle theme instead.
I think the way to fix that is they should have made that a thing for regular trainers. Maybe gym leader fights, but for really important fights, they should take that out. But
yeah,
I think,
or
I think it would be kind of like a pinch theme if you're like on your last Pokemon.
Or I think it would even be cooler if like fights with different music had different pinch themes.
Oh, that would have been really cool. Yeah,
like their theme gets even more intimidating.
Or at the very least, if you wanted a simple solution, just give the player an option to turn it off.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be really simple about it.
I didn't mind it too much, but I could see that.
But I haven't actually talked about my personal experiences with Gen 5, like when that launched, because I actually had like pretty much around the same time as Owen. I had the phase of like, oh, Pokemon is dumb. But you know, thanks to Hard Gold and Soul Silver being remixed Gen 2 games, I immediately got back into it. Like, it was pretty much only Platinum that I was really like had that phase with. So like, you know, I was already like pretty excited for Gen 5, like when the Japanese version came out, I watched some gameplay of that and it looked really cool, and I got it on release date, and it's so good. It's just, it was so weird seeing Pokemon with such a nice, focused story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All throughout.
And like, the like, antagonist, like, not even, like, necessarily the main villain of the team, but, like, the what's pretty much the actual antagonist of the game. He was so different from everything else we had seen up until that point.
I mean, at that point, you never had a team that really kind of questioned the stuff that Team Plasma did, and the kind of twist at the end with their leader and what he truly wants.
Yeah.
He's just using it for his own gain.
At the same time, having an antagonist like N, who is not necessarily like, oh, I need to do this for evil. He genuinely believes he's doing something good.
So because of that twist at the end, it's even more impactful to him. He's like, excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that kind of like twist works so much better than something like Team Galactic, where everyone there just doesn't know what they're doing.
For real.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like with Team Plasma, they have a goal in mind. They want to do what they believe in, but here it's like, no.
A very interesting thing, like Black and White 2 do later on, is like in if you connect Black and White 1 to 2, you get like flashback episodes, and it actually showed that like Plasma had both people who genuinely believed in a goal and people who were in the know that they were doing just evil shit.
Yeah, there was always a kind of divide.
Yeah, which is really cool.
And again, you barely ever get that.
Also, to give the sound design another credit, the theme that happens when you like encounter N like really helps set the mood so well.
Yeah, and they do. I want to mention before because I'll forget later. But they do a thing in Black and White 2 that I thought was the greatest fucking thing ever, and it's that N's theme sounds very mysterious in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of unsettling. And then you meet him in Black and White 2, basically when his character arc is resolved. And it starts off the same, but then it goes more into like an upbeat, happy song with the same melody, and I'm like, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really sounds like he's found out what he wants to do.
He realizes who he is now.
And that's fucking amazing, and I like nothing else in the series has done that.
One of the high points of Black and White 2.
Yes.
Black and White 2, I guess I'll just talk about both games like in tandem because they're so linked.
Yeah.
Black and White 2.
Black 2 and White 2.
Black and White 2, while admittedly having a weaker story than 1, I think does really well with like giving you closure on certain things from Black and White 1.
Especially if you link the game up.
Yes.
Yeah, like
seeing
where Sharon and Bianca end up, seeing where N ends up, seeing what like really happened to like
or other characters.
To like P Plasma and Unova after the first game. It's all like that all works so well.
That is its biggest strength by far, I feel.
Easily.
Yeah.
Sorry, and you go TP.
I guess from a more mechanical standpoint, here's something I really love. TMs actually are now a one-time use item.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use them whenever you
Gen
want.
5 happened, you could only use them once on a Pokemon. It was the worst, but Gen 5 thankfully fixed that, and it's great. So you no longer have to worry about, oh, do I really want to like invest on this Pokemon, this move that could be used for later uses, like, you know, for competitive sake.
Yeah.
Another thing Gen 5 cracked down on, which would like in later games like get outright removed, is HMs. Like you barely use HMs in Unova, and
I want to say the thing that Gen 5 did was a fine solution, which it made me really angry at Gen 6 when it got fucked with. But Gen 5, there are still HMs, they still exist, but none of them are mandatory to the story apart from cut, I think, at the beginning. That's it.
Yeah.
You can just cut once.
And you can get a shitty Pokemon for that right away and then just box it forever.
That monkey after
you can use the monkey.
Shitty Pokemon you can box forever, exactly.
Yeah, nobody likes the monkeys.
Nobody likes
the fire one literally got voted the least popular Pokemon of all time.
Of all time, yeah, that's kind of funny.
That's kind of sad. I mean, the idea behind it's neat, but yeah, the designs aren't great. As much as I like the principle.
Yes, the principal.
But no, yeah, the HMs just serve as like you use them, but not to actually like progress with the game.
You don't have to go out of your way to get a crappy Pokemon and save a slot just for them. You could actually make a full team of the awesome Pokemon that Unova actually gives you.
I almost want to say that Gen 5 being like that was a direct result of them going, okay, we went overboard with 4.
For real.
I feel like they were aware that shit got out of hand with 4 in terms of HMs.
Look, we talked about 4 and its HMs before, but I want to say one more thing, and it's that when you have to climb up that fucking mountain for real, you need 2 HM slaves to climb up it. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So in actuality, you only really have 4 Pokemon to take on the rest of the trains. I mean, I understand it's fine in the end because it's like Team Galactic or whatever, but still.
Level 41
Wurmple.
That was only in Diamond and Pearl. On the other hand, it was still a thing.
But it is still a thing.
It's left as mark in my brain.
On the other hand, yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, Unova in general is just a really, like, neat region.
Absolutely. I love all of the cities. Like, each one of them has a very distinct theme to them, and the music that accompanies them, I can't forget it. It's so good.
I have to say, I honestly believe that Gen 5 is my favorite soundtrack, just overall. Every single song I love. Mm-hmm. I can't think of a song I don't like.
In my top 10.
God damn.
God damn.
Like, I don't know. Everything in Gen 5 also just feels, like, more significant than in previous games. Like, the team feels like it's a more significant part of your journey.
The gym leaders have something to offer in the end.
This is the first time where the gym leaders have a big part in the story, especially in the finale, and it's great.
And they all show up to help you take on, like, the team in the greatest finale ever. I'm sorry.
And it's something people are forgetting now because with Gen 7, everyone's like, all the gym leaders are shit because the trial captains are much better.
That was never always the case.
I agree that the trial captains get more exposure and they are more well developed. They feel like a rounder cast of characters, but I feel like Gen 5 was the first gen where the gym leaders were really involved.
Give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Even trial captains are better. What does that mean? The Gen 5 gym leaders were bad? No,
not at all.
I mean,
they're
can see
amazing.
Cases for like. I could see cases for like literally every other gym leaders and like the other gens.
The only other like character I could think of that really doesn't fit that is the last one from Black and White 2.
Yeah,
he
was weird.
He was very random.
I did like the one moment though where he told the rival to chill the fuck down.
That was nice.
Yeah, seriously though.
But that's like. But that's like the full extent of
Yeah, no, he's definitely less involved.
And I also just wanted to mention real quick though that the fucking legendaries in this game actually are like super well incorporated into the story, kind of like in the same vein of Ruby and Sapphire, but to even more of an extent where it's basically the final battle.
The story has themes now.
Yeah, it's themes. They give. Can I spoil here? I feel like the game.
We've spoiled the crap out of it.
Well, the thing with Black and White is that N and the thing it does as well. The games go by the themes of truths and ideals, and either of those two can apply to you or N, and that's what's so good about it. And N will always get one dragon, and you will get one dragon. And this is why I always put this dragon on my team when I go to fight him, because it's just, for the story, it's the best thing.
Not to, like, you have to catch it, unless you somehow maxed out your boxes.
Yeah.
And just saying, the canon way of doing it, in has Reshiram, you have Zekrom.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, Reshiram's too fitting for N.
Yeah.
I
can't see any other way.
Even like just down to like how Reshiram looks feels like it's a lot more fitting for
Its elegance is just too good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like give the anime shit for as much as you want, but at least they got that part right.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, just Black and White 1 are such a crafted story. Like, it has a story with themes. It has a great ending. Like, the whole journey just feels super solid.
I want to take 2 seconds as well to talk about the real villain Getsus, because his Hydreigon has to be the most intimidating Pokemon in the entire series because, oh my god, that thing is a monster, and no one has had an easy time with that thing. It has demolished everyone's team.
It's the best feeling when my parents came up and they're like, son, am I ready for this?
It also made Black and White 1 the hardest game to Nuzlocke, apparently.
Yeah, because that fucking thing.
Because you just hit a roadblock. You just hit a roadblock right at the end.
Hydreigon is
literally the last battle. And the thing is as well, it just, especially after getting, it's a big triumphant moment, you get your legendary Pokemon, you can't even use it against this thing. It makes mincemeat out of it. That's how scary this thing is. It will
It's quite literally just a hacked Pokemon.
Cut your legendary to shreds.
It works so well, though, in the case of Getsus. Because he has to be that kind of an intimidation for the twist they do with him and that theme he's got in the back.
Also, the fact
jokes aside.
Yeah, it is underleveled. It should not be a Hydreigon, but it is.
Yeah, to sum it up for me, Black and White is my favorite game in the series. Absolutely adore it. Easily one of my favorite games of all time.
Yes.
Just from everything it does. And it really upsets me when people go Gen 5 is awful. I'm like, come on.
Because I hate it too, because I always go, why? And the only answer I ever get is, yeah, it was boring. Because that's an answer that means something.
Yeah, it was boring.
No explanation. It's just boring.
It's just boring. And that is the explanation you will always get, and it's always Gen 5 in particular. It's like, why?
And an answer that I know some of you guys will apply to Sinnoh, and I mean, I disagree, but I can't say I blame you.
The thing with Sinnoh is it's a much more conventional adventure. It's pretty much the same formula as Ruby Sapphire. Gym battles, legendary Pokemon threatens the world. Evil team looking for legendary Pokemon. You beat it. The end. The thing with 5 is it broke so many conventions and did so many things differently and made that finale so exciting that when people call it boring, it just fucking boggles me. I don't get it.
Different, it's sure, but most certainly not boring.
Why? And I asked, why is it boring? They're like, I just didn't like it. Because again, that's a fucking response that means something.
Yeah. When they don't even know themselves and they're just kind of like, and you know what, whatever. I don't feel like arguing. And it's like, okay.
I'm sure if we get an audience that, and some of them don't like Black or Gen 5, they might provide something. I'm not saying being boring is the only thing, but
the only in-depth reason I ever got was it's linear, and that's it.
That too, and again.
Well, that's like almost every other fucking Pokemon game.
We talked about that already. It's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think linearity is necessarily a bad thing either. Like, if it's linear, but good.
Oh, good. Oh no, it's linear. That means the pacing is probably deliberate and well constructed. Who is me?
Yeah, the thing with linear games is they tend to be constructed better as a whole.
Exactly.
And that's why, we get open world games like Skyrim, but I guess I shouldn't say any more on that.
Yeah.
That's an entirely different discussion there.
But,
can
I say Gen 5 is such a fucking balanced gen? Because on the one hand, we get this really fucking solid, single-player adventure in Black and White 1, and then we just get a Pokemon game with, the most after-game and just general content ever in Black and White 2.
Yes. But what were you going to say, TP? Sorry about that.
I was going to say something about Black 2 and White 2. I meant to go to Black and White. Something else. That game, I can see it being a little alienating because Black and White only until they beat the champion, it only had Pokemon from that generation.
I kind of liked that though.
I kind of liked
Yeah,
that
no,
feeling
no.
again.
On the one hand, I can see him maybe being a little alienated because it's
I
only
can
new
get
Pokemon.
that.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
understand if you
But
don't
the
like the designs, then fair enough.
But
on
I
the
don't know. I
other-
feel like that gave the region itself a lot more of its own identity.
It
Yeah,
did, but
and it didn't focus on like pandering or whatever. It focused on being on its own thing. It focused on being
It's a double-edged sword depending on perspective.
yeah,
And,
basically.
and to be fair, they made up for. If you didn't like it, they make up for that in fucking spades in Black and White too.
I was gonna say your team could be so varied in that game.
In the first, in like the first, before you even get to the second gym, heck, even before the first gym, like there's the ranch, and that has a Riolu, that has Marie, that has Psyduck.
yeah,
you can
it's
get
kind
like
of
you
ridiculous.
can get like Growlithe, Magnemite, Magby, just you can get so much fucking it has by far Black and White 2 the best like wild Pokemon selection of the series, bar none.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the next one having apparently a much wider selection, but I didn't feel, and I can't really I can't really explain it.
I feel like they just picked worse Pokemon. The thing.
I guess. Anyway, just.
I was
Black
gonna
and White
say,
2. Black and White 2.
I was gonna say, well, I was gonna say, going to that for a second, it's not that like it's more solid selection at the start. Like,
Yeah.
you could say like it had like X and Y and what Sun and Moon had larger selections, but it's about starts. Like it's about what started.
Like, yeah, you can expect wide diversity at the end, but what about the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And while you could say there are gems in the beginning, like I like the Ralts in X and Y, or I guess Salamence in Sun and Moon.
Oh,
If you're that patient.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean though, because like in the beginning, it's like, oh, you expect like the early bugs, the early birds, the early Rattata clone, but no, here you get Marie, Riolu, fucking Magnemite, Magby, you get the whole shebang like right away, and that just feels so nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly.
It is definitely one of the cooler aspects of Black and White 2.
I want to talk about a character that everyone loves, but I don't really understand. Maybe I know at least two people here who love this character, and me and doesn't like him very much, and I think you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Colress from Black and White 2, and I never really got the appeal for this guy.
Is there something I'm missing? Because I just feel he's just sort of there in the end. He doesn't have much to offer. He's just kind of like, yes, we've seen you before through other characters. Now, shoo.
It's been a while since I played Black and White 2, like a while, but I remember liking the fact that his motivation was like not really evil in any way. He was like it was all like purely for research, and it's like it's not the greatest, I realize, but it was like it's just nice whenever it's a little different.
It is different, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's not someone who's evil for evil's sake. It's just at most a roadblock because I want to know more.
I suppose like the only reason I can't say I like him that much is expected a lot.
That's fair.
Because his final encounter was just kind of there, and then he left.
I kind of like the fact that his final encounter wasn't even like, oh, this is a fucking battle to stop Team Plasma. No, for him it was just a test of strength.
It's just research. That's all he really cares for.
And like, I don't know, it was nice seeing something like that.
I suppose.
Plus,
I just guess because of like previous games and what I kind of expected, I come in going like, okay, let's do this, and it's like, The whole experience of Black and White 2 was just very strange to me. At one point, I didn't even like the game.
I feel yeah. I feel like if you go in expecting something like Black or White 1, you're going to be disappointed. Which, I mean, I understand why you'd expect that. It's a
sequel.
I feel like Black and White 2 is extremely good, but it's just extremely good in different areas compared to Black and White 1.
I still really like Black and White 2, but I undoubtedly like the first.
No, same.
Yeah.
But Black and White 2 is a great game.
Black and White 2 probably is like the thing is it follows more like it's more. I want to say it follows more story conventions than Black and White 1.
It's a more conventional Pokemon game, right down to the final battle is before the Elite Four.
Yeah.
No, it's a more conventional Pokemon game. What I like about it, it's probably the most well-developed traditional Pokemon game with the most content, like, by far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked all the other stuff, like the World Tournament especially.
Yeah. So, like, again, that's why I say Gen 5 is such a balanced gen, because it has both, like, this really cool, sort of newish game that's, like, really story-focused, and then the more traditional game, but super well-developed.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say that to, like, completely wrap it up. It has everything for everyone, really.
Yeah.
If the first game wasn't what you were exactly looking for, then do at least try out 2 and see what you think.
I
think because of what I prefer in the first game, that's why originally I was so kind of off from Black and White 2. I would later come to respect it for what it does, though.
I actually like know a couple of people who weren't into Black and White 1, but they really liked Black and White 2. So
yeah, that sounds about right.
But yeah,
and I also kind of like the whole they actually kind of they released some sort of like 3DS app like that allows you to
the 3D Pokedex?
Not the 3D Pokedex, the Dream Radar.
That.
It's this dumb little like kind of mini game-ish thing. I think it might have been on the one hand maybe slightly overpriced.
Yeah.
I don't know. On the other hand, you can get the Therian forms that they were of those things. And if you had your previous Pokemon games,
like any of the Gen 4 games, you could catch their mascot legendaries in that, and that was neat.
Yeah.
By the way, surprisingly, we might be bringing up fucking Pokemon Dream Radar later. Christ.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But to say some more things on Black and White 2, I actually really ended up liking the rival. It was kind of this mix of like
you?
Yeah.
I was alright.
Yeah, he was
yeah.
Like, I don't know. You had a really good theme song.
Yes, I will say that the music's fantastic, as of course.
And I know you still don't care, but I still like for the character. But Colress's theme was also really good.
Yeah, I really like that theme.
Again,
I don't get it quite. Sorry.
I tried to. I don't know. It's not my thing. I like the countdown thing, but it almost feels like it doesn't go anywhere.
It's almost a bit too robotic for me. Kind of like.
I get what it's going for, though. I can respect why people like.
Yeah.
I shrug.
All right. Well,
10,000 shrugs.
I shrugs you 10,000 times.
Oh God, no.
The only other thing what I guess this generation offers outside the main games would be, I guess, Pokepark 2, and I don't think anyone's played it.
No. Well, actually,
okay, we're gonna ignore Gates to Infinity, but Pokepark
2. I was gonna say and Gates to Infinity.
Well, I mean, there's one more spin-off. Before that, I just wanted to say that one story beat in Black and White 2 that I really liked is the fact that Gets literally just goes fucking insane.
He goes really crazy by his last battle, and you can, like, what I like about that is, again, I think Black and White 2 probably has one of the best sound direction in the series.
Yeah.
You really hear in his theme how fucking mental he's went.
Yeah, it's fantastic, especially if you played the first Black and White.
It's a remix of his first game, but yeah, like, if you've played that, you can tell this has gone off the fucking rocker, and it's great.
It's even his animation is he's got this fucking cane thing. I don't know what's up with that, by the way. But he's got this cane thing.
Crush the old man.
I think
by the way, also worth mentioning...
That's alright, I won't say anything then.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's cool.
I was gonna say the cane thing I think was for Kierum.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but...
it helps with the imagery.
Disregarding that, he just his startup animation.
Startup animation shaking. His cloak is all like disheveled and like fucking scraggly looking. And one thing also worth bringing up, he is, till this day, the only main villain who literally tries to take your life.
He tries to impale you with
tries to
ice.
kill you.
It's pretty hardcore. It's pretty metal. What I was going to say was that his animation is he picks up his cane and he slams it into the ground so hard it cracks and gets stuck and he's like gasping for air and it's like you want like a seat, man.
You want to calm down. Take a chill pill.
Also to further bring up his insanity, not too far before that, he literally ice nukes a city.
He does freeze an entire
That was a
city.
cool moment. You're right.
Cool.
I'm sorry.
Like, I don't know, like, Black and White 2 definitely doesn't have as good of a story as Black and White 1, but I'd still put it above most traditional Pokemon games.
It's
definitely
definitely got its moments. Absolutely.
Plus, Pokemon World Tournament was such a cool addition.
Yes, that's the highlight for me.
That is by far the best battle facility the series has ever seen.
Yeah, it feels pretty legit, I suppose. In terms of difficulty, I mean.
And the fact that you can also refight like previous gym leaders and champions, that's
and they've all got their little well, I'm pretty sure all of them got like legit remixes of their themes.
A good amount.
Yes, they did.
All of them.
I think there was one that was left out, wasn't there?
No. I believe every gym leader and champion from the series, apart from Iris and Koga, reappeared in the PWT.
Makes sense.
All of them. Like even Koga was pretty much for the reason of he became an elite member now.
Yeah.
Like, and you praised the sound design of Black and White 2 earlier. Can I just say the soundtrack in general is at the very least one of the best ones.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a fucking great soundtrack. It's got so much variety, so many remixes, so many great original tunes.
If there wasn't enough reason to praise Black and White.
UI is also very nice, and I want to say I don't think I mentioned like up until Gen 5 for some reason that fucking baffles me. I don't know why. We just had still image sprites for every single Pokemon game.
The most you would ever get is like slight animations when they pop out of a Pokeball for some of the games.
But Black and White and Black and White 2 had these like really nice looking sprites that also moved. And it was a little animation to play back and forth. But it looks so nice in comparison. And it
makes the battles feel so much more lively.
I think Gen 5
especially with the okay. I was gonna say especially with how the camera is not just stuck to one location. Like it'll move.
It pans a lot, yeah. That's actually it makes stuff like the bridge sequences very, very nice. But what I was gonna say is I honestly believe that Gen 5 is graphically superior to Gen 6. Because Gen 6 went for really weird chibi looking 3D models. And honestly, 5 just looked a lot nicer.
Because Gen 5 has style to it. That's what makes it last longer than Gen 6. Because everything in Gen 6 just feels dead inside. I'm sorry I'm getting ahead of myself, but...
Sure, in terms of, actual graphical intensity, sure, Gen 6 is on a technical level better, but just on an aesthetic and, design front, Gen 5 beats it.
It has so much life to it. There's so much personality just coming out of everything from the fucking attack boxes. For God's sake, you feel it's so good.
Even small stuff like them adding a little animation whenever you pick something up is so appreciated.
Yeah,
I got it.
He can raise his hand into the air. It's so good.
It's some Zelda shit, and I love it.
Yeah, it's called Link.
But I think that's everything from.
I wanted to bring up one more spin-off that TP forgot to mention. Not
the spin-offs. I meant the main games. I think.
Oh yeah, no, for the main games we're done.
Wait.
Gen 5 didn't
Conquest?
really have much in the. Yeah, Conquest, which is a fucking crossover of Pokemon and this obscure Japanese strategy series called Nomudaga's Mission, and I've played quite a bit of it, and the game is fucking awesome.
I actually really want to try it. It looks really good.
It's a fucking Pokemon strategy RPG with management. You can send you gather troops and you can send them to take out other bases while you take on other fucking military bases. It's so weird, but it's great.
I remember someone recently comparing it to like a Fire Emblem game. So
No, that's a very apt comparison, but it's again, it's a strategy RPG with Pokemon. It's fucking great.
I'm sure I'll be better than Fire Emblem at least.
It's such a weird, obscure little game, but it's really good, and everyone who wants to should play it at some point.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I love how, like, despite the fact that we bring in the concluding thoughts of Black and White 1, that we still gush about Black and White 1 for another, like, 20 minutes.
Okay, alright, enough of the Black and White 1. I will restrain myself. I want to bring up Gates to Infinity.
You can quickly talk about that, and I'll be right back.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well, I know Ian hasn't. Has anyone here played and finished Gates to Infinity?
I have.
Okay, at least we've got someone. It's very, very hard to find. What did you think about Gates to Infinity, TP?
I liked it, but I don't find it on the same level as the other ones.
The other one, yes, that's what I want to say, because people, anytime I talk about Gates to Infinity, everyone's like, oh, that game's fucking terrible, it's horrible, I hate it. And honestly, I think I can see why it's weaker than the others, because there's certain flaws, like it's very easy, you only have 5 starter Pokemon to select for some fucking... the amount of Pokemon in-game is limited. The story kind of repeats a couple beats, but I do honestly think that it has its moments, it has its positives, and if you go into it, I at least think people like it. I don't know. I think the hate towards it is exaggerated. I get where it comes from and all.
I just having played the first 2 games and almost having finished Super, it just feels like, is there really a point in me in going back and trying Gates?
I'd like you to
try
it at some point. I'd also like you to finish Super, you piece of shit.
But, like, I don't know, like, I probably will at some point, because it's fucking Pokemon, of course I will, but, like, I can kind of see, like, someone who has played, like, say, Super or something, like, feeling like, I don't feel like I need to go back to Gates.
Oh yeah, no, Super destroys it. Absolutely puts it out of its fucking misery. Put the gun to my head, Gates. But I still think it has its own positives. I don't hate it. I feel like it's a good game. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, unless we want to talk about Pokepark Week and Pokepark Week 2.
Has anyone talked about Pokepark? Has anyone played Pokepark?
I have not played Pokepark.
I don't know
well, I guess before we get to talk about the actual Gen 6 games, let's talk about Super Mystery Dungeon.
I'd rather wait till Ian.
Yeah, Ian actually.
He has a lot to say about that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh Lord,
what God, why did you leave Ian?
Well, we gotta drag out this Gen.
I love Gen 5.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to get dinner preparation.
Well, now it's time.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing we didn't have to. Didn't have to stumble over each other for too long.
Yeah.
On to Gen 6.
Yeah, okay, just to say this, I know we've been interrupting each other quite a lot through that segment, but we do deeply love that game. And then
it's why we kept interrupting each other.
Because it's so good. Yes. We'll try to limit ourselves here, but we may be interrupting each other because we deeply hate this gen.
Well, I don't think TB hates it.
Okay, again, I don't hate any gen, but I could still say this is one of the weakest ones we've
But this pushes me.
This takes the piss a little.
In a shocking manner.
I guess we should just talk about X and Y first. I'd like to tell a story.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, because I feel like your story and mine is going to be very similar.
Go ahead.
How I got Pokemon Y. And Pokemon Y, I don't know if anyone listening to this thing, if you're there, people, I don't know if any of you were around for the Pokemon X and Y hype, but oh my god, it was huge, it was fucking everywhere. I think it's one of the that's one of the most hype generating Pokemon games I've seen, and that's
because it was the first mainline game in 3D that like pushed the hype above and beyond so hard.
And I was one of those people who was so extremely excited about this game. And I was someone coming to my college class one day, and they're like, "Guys, I got fucking Pokemon X. The guy at game just gave me my pre-order early," and I'm like, "Oh, so they're handing out pre-orders early." So I go in and I'm like, "I heard you were giving out pre-orders early," and they're like, "Yeah, just take it. Just take Pokemon Y," and I'm like, "Thank you." I came home. I bragged to all my friends. Look! I got a Y like a couple days early. Suck my dick.
Yeah,
all that shit. All that good shit that I would regret later. And I was just so excited about this game. And the first time I played it, I noted a couple flaws, but overall I thought I really enjoyed it. But then as I looked back over time, oh my god, this has to be the worst main series Pokemon game there is. There's no contest. And I hate Gen 4. Well, I don't. This gen made me consider things I like about Gen 4 before.
It was such a weird journey, because like I was in the same boat. Like I was right there with the hype. The first time I played it, I fucking loved it. Like I was like, oh my god, this is 3D Pokemon. This is so cool. Like I was so like in love with the idea of 3D Pokemon, but like the flaws I did note didn't bother me so much.
Yeah.
But then like you take a step back, right? And you look at the bigger picture here. And everything just starts falling the fuck apart. And you know, even when like I was considering like, okay, so this is actually not a very good gen, I was still like thinking, okay, you know, at least still better than 4, right? But then and you might remember this, because we had this epiphany like at the same time when we watched like when ORAS and Smash 4 came out like a week earlier in the US than they did in Europe. Me and Owen decided to watch Pokemon speedruns to like talk about how we felt about each game. We made it through the Gen 4 speedrun. No problem at all. Like, we were bitching the entire way through, but we managed to watch the whole thing.
Not
we
the case with Gen 6.
We watched the X and Y one for about 30 minutes, and we couldn't do it.
It's so boring.
It is such a boring, empty generation. Oh!
It's
actually quite amazing how boring.
I was just
I
was just gonna step up to the table a bit and mention, yes, I also was part of the hype train. Of course. After Gen 5, Game Freak was at a whole new level. Oh my god, they know how to write a story. So what could they do for Gen 6? Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. Bought day 1, had it pre-ordered, me and my bro, we were playing at the same time, we started up at the same time, it was like X, Y, oh my god! And we played through it. By the time I got to Victory Road, I'm like, no, this can't be. This game sucks! And for a week, I held off on finishing Victory Road. I couldn't. It was so bad. I hated it. Why? The moment I played it. But I didn't want to tell anyone. I'm like, no, I must be stupid. I must be retarded or something. There must be something I'm just missing. I'll wait it out. And thank the Lord above, I wasn't wrong. X and Y is terrible!
What about you, TP? What do you think?
Okay. Same story with the whole hype train. I was knowing that they were with especially with Mega Evolutions, they were focusing a lot more on giving older Pokemon, especially Gen 1 stuff, more stuff. I noticed that because after especially after Black and White and how a lot of people were like Gen 1 and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I noticed that I know the term Gen 1ers is dumb and blah blah blah, but I noticed that term come up a lot more during the time of Black and White, and I've seen a lot more praise for Black and White, not Black and White, the original generation and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I guess this is that was kind of an answer to it. And I know and while I still enjoyed the journey, I noticed it just wasn't nearly like, especially coming off of Pokemon from Generation 5, after coming off of the most story-driven generation to date, or at least I think.
I feel like it's also worth mentioning that like pretty much everyone I saw who was like on the X and Y hype train and who was loving it, at least for like my circle of friends, even when like we were all still in the hype phase, a lot of us noted that we still definitely liked Gen 5 more.
Well, yeah, of course.
But like, I still wouldn't say I hated it. I mean, I'm the one that likes Gen 4 in here, of course. But I think it also says something like of how they change stuff. Like, I think it says something when granted, I probably should have turned off the EXP share, but when I didn't, I got to the Elite Four, and after only slight, minimal grinding at the very, very end, my Greninja was over level 80.
Look, mine was too. I didn't even have to grind.
I very infrequently had that thing on. I was still higher level than any Pokemon the champion had.
Oh my god, the champion was
problem, the problem, but if you're looking from a story perspective,
Ugh.
yeah, no, please.
I cough up blood.
The worst, the worst by far.
I thought they knew what they were doing now. Dorito Man, no.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way.
Can you? Sorry, wait. Okay, first of all, you're editing this, right?
Yes.
Can you just at this part, I don't know, just for reference, just put Dorito Man up on the screen for a little bit.
Our main villain.
I think we need to see him just in frame of mind while we're talking about
I'm gonna show the screenshot of the first time you walk into a store, and you see the camera pans up to him, and you're like, "Well, gee, hello, Mr. Main Villain. How are you?"
Literally
put that up, but viewer, keep this in mind. The game wants you to assume he is not the villain at this point.
Literally, fucking everyone, and everyone was playing this game at the same time. It was like a big fucking worldwide thing. I don't know, people were taking days off work in college and shit. Everyone was playing Pokemon. And fucking, literally, I was in for about 5-6 people when they got to that point, and every single one said, "Hi, main villain." Because, yeah, it's so obvious.
It's so
like, it's
bad.
either, "Hi, main villain," or, "Hey, look, it's not the villain," like, sarcastically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the two. It's just...
You could tell he was the villain.
I was behind everyone in the call when they were playing. By the time I got to it, everyone was having a chuckle when I said, "Oh, is that the main villain?" They're like, "Ha ha ha! Guess who the main villain is?" I'm like, "Ha ha ha ha."
I already did.
Okay. I feel like I can bring this up now. Absolutely. Positively.
Without a doubt.
Fuck Team Flare. The worst villains I think I have probably seen in a game ever.
Can we also have a little flare gun up on screen?
Yes, and let me sum up my parents' reaction to Team Flare, where my mom summed up Team Flare like I've never heard her use this kind of language before. But she went up to me and she said, "These guys are gay," and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, they are.
It's gotten to the point, Team Flare is back to the point where it almost feels like the generation after is, actively mocking it.
Yeah.
Because they know. They know!
What the fuck? First of all, there are, this is one of their smallest defenders, but Team Flare has, 5 admins, and the game does literally fuck all of them.
And they all look the same.
The only one that I only remember 2 of them. One of them being Sorosic, only because he participates in the minimalistic after the game there is. I mean, let me also say, not having an after game isn't necessarily that big a deal. On the other hand, it does kind of come at the cost of a lot of replayability, and
it also helps if your main story is already weak and then you don't have an after game.
Yeah, which is why I can't really say too much against Sun and Moon at this point, because it's a lot better. It has a lot better story despite its not having that much of an after game.
Yeah, I mean, like Black and White was the same. Black and White does not have much of an after game, so
but it still has more.
Mm-hmm. But back on, and the only other anime I remember is Celosia, and that's only because that's the same name as one of the bosses from Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah. I was about to say, I can't believe you remember their names, because I don't.
I had to quickly Google image on my phone to confirm which admins you are talking about, and you're referring to the purple one, right?
Okay.
You don't even remember!
You just know the name.
I remember
the fucking...
I remember the name, nothing else.
Oh my god, that's terrible!
I can at least say Zeroxic is the guy.
Yeah.
Because he's the only guy there!
Like,
okay, so they have admins, but they don't do anything with them. The grunts are just...
Even with frickin' like Team Galactic, I can at least remember the names.
Yeah. No, at least... I can't believe I'm defending Team Galactic. At least Team Galactic had fucking admins that did things and had different theme songs and had memorable designs.
For better or worse.
For better or worse.
Even Neo Team Rocket, they had stuff.
Well, I mean, in the remakes, yeah.
In the remakes, the original.
In the original games, they didn't try, but at the same time, here you're trying, but at the same time, they're not.
I mean, in Gen 2, Team Rocket are so pathetic.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Team Rocket in Gen 2 was supposed to be just a pathetic bunch of leftovers. Team Flare is supposed to be intimidating, but you just take one look at the grunts and go, haha.
And they do their stupid pose.
The grunts are awful. Just...
And the grunts... Okay, can I say, like, Team Galactic, at least the grunts were honest, like, I don't know what I'm doing. These grunts gave you about 15 different reasons for what the motivation of...
Yeah.
It's like, goddamn.
And the best part about that is, like, I don't even know where the fuck you get these from, because fucking Lysandre does not mention any of this.
Yeah, especially...
out with the open about what he wants to do. And it's like, where the fuck are you guys getting these motivations from? Who the fuck is telling you this?
The main thing that they gave us before the game came out is that this team was interested in fashion and making things beautiful. And admittedly, that caused me to raise my eyebrow like sky high. But then you get to the game and it's like, no. That's not it.
That's not it.
The one thing,
don't know where this came from.
The one thing I wanted to mention when it came to Team Flares, other than the admins, there's also another story plot that involves one of the Elite Four members in this game, where she is connected with Team Flare.
I forgot about this.
But by the time you get to that point, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to beat you," like you completely forget about her. Like, what were you doing?
Yeah, she's the newscaster, and she works with Flare, and they don't do anything with either of those facts.
The anime does more of this.
That's kind of sad.
That's terrible.
You know what? Speaking of cool concepts that X and Y has, that it completely fucking wastes, let's talk about the fact that the backstory to X and Y is a literal Pokemon war, which culminated in someone creating a super weapon that made them immortal. And all that fucking resulted in was giving the main villain a dumb weapon he can destroy the world with.
Are you reading? Are you reading like a summary of a Pokemon fanfic?
Also, this information is literally given to you by one person at one point in the game over 2 minutes, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Never brought up again. Mm-hmm. Fuck off.
Like, there's so much more you could have done with that. But no, you just use it to give the villain a super weapon.
The legendary Pokemon... Okay, back to Gen 5 one more time. Really cool ideas for the main legendaries. You got Zekrom... God, I get the two mixed up all the time. But Zekrom and Reshiram, Yin and Yang. Kyurem is the absence of Yin and Yang, and that's why he absorbs either of each.
That's why he's
also literally
the
a
ground.
fucking...
That's why he's gray.
He's gray. He's literally a fucking zombie dragon. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
In this game, they have another trio: the Pokemon of Life and the Pokemon of Death, and they don't do anything with that concept at all.
No, the Pokemon of Life and Death are there to power up the stupid super weapon again. I hate the super weapon.
And then we have
concept just gets thrown out the fucking window with it.
And then we have the Pokemon of Order Zygarde, who sits in a cave.
You know,
away from the public.
Like, you know what game does more of it and doesn't even do that particularly much more with it? Generation 7.
We'll get to that.
It took until Generation 7 to do fucking anything with a Generation 6 Pokemon.
But yeah, Dorito Man wants to power up Magneto's super laser to destroy the mutants, and there's one moment when you confront him. By the time you get like deep into the base, and at one point he just literally starts crying.
You go, why are you crying? You know, it's like, are you crying? Why are you crying? And he goes, Pokemon.
Okay, to go on the fuck Team Flare train, like, I've expressed my distaste for villains like Cyrus, but oh my god, I would take 100 Cyruses over one Lysandre. Lysandre is awful.
Well, Lasagna is just Cyrus, but worse.
Did you say lasagna?
Yes, I did.
I'm glad. I'm gonna use that as the name now, lasagna.
Oh.
And a fucking Alolan Persian just eating him.
Nerval! But no, remember when, like, during the Lysandre boss fight, after you catch the legendary Pokemon for X and Y, he challenges you to a battle, and it's like a mix of the awful Team Fair Grunt theme, and he has this stupid Doc Ock outfit going on, and he does nothing with it. He just sends out his Pokemon and thinks, "Why do you have this? Why do you have this?"
It's just, he just walks out in a Doc Ock uniform for no reason. Sorry, TP, just, I can't.
No, they say there's a reason, like, absorbing...
In the anime! Not in the games!
I thought that was the explanation in the games, but again, it goes nowhere.
It just doesn't...
Also, fun fact: if you have X and you catch the Xerneas right before that fight, you can fucking destroy his team so fucking easily with it.
You can one-shot everything.
Thanks, fairy
It
types.
It is
because they do this thing.
Disgusting.
They do this thing where Generation 5 again did this, where you get a legendary Pokemon and you can put it in your team, and it's because Ed had a legendary Pokemon too. It's supposed to be a fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Here they just give you a legendary and go, here, fuck this guy with it.
And that's what you do. That's what you absolutely do.
I mean, like, what is your competition? Mega Gyarados? No.
That thing that stands absolutely zero chance if you get Xerneas, great. Awesome.
Even Bacon Lugia, it pretty much wipes out his team.
You don't even need the legendaries to wipe out his team.
I didn't even use the legendary. I fucking swept him so hard.
Yeah, I switched out and I still used to produce.
Little Caterpie can go in there and beat him up.
On that note, like, this includes, like, both X and Y and later on ORS. Gen 6 has to be the easiest fucking Pokemon game.
Because they give you an I win item.
Not even without it.
I understand that too. I'm just saying.
Like, I could definitely say, like, with the EXP share off, they're significantly more difficult, but they're also, like, but I think it complements ORS a lot more than it complements X and Y. Because...
I turned the EXP share off for ORS, and I think I had a much better time.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, still a relatively, like, easy experience, even by Pokemon.
Yeah.
At least I was having fun.
At least, yeah, I mean, a lot more fun with ORS. But, and it's such a shame because, you know, I actually kind of like the concept of life and death. I kind of like what you're, like, I want to talk about the legendaries. Freaking, and just how little they meant. Like, again, they're just used to power up that guy's
weapon.
machine. Yeah, they're used to power up a machine, and nothing about like the futility of life or something. I don't know.
Also, the fact that the third legendary is literally a Pokemon that maintains the order of life and death,
and it just sits in a cave.
Like
and it just sits in a cave. Like, it's such a cool concept. Like, someone who literally like governs the fucking order of life and death, and it's just.
Again, maybe if they did a Pokemon Z, I don't. If they did,
which they didn't.
Thank
God. They clearly
first. That's what I was going to talk about. The first generation to just go fuck the third game. We're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the third game. Fuck a sequel. We're just not bothering with this fucking region anymore. I mean, I'm glad.
They jumped ship so quick.
Oh my god, also, you fucking reminded me, you booted my memory up. Can we just talk about how Kalos is the worst Pokemon region ever?
Because what else is there to it?
There is one big city in the middle of it, which, by the way, causes your game to crash if you save in it.
I was gonna say.
I mean, that was initially, and yeah, that was a problem.
I know they fixed it, but like, it was still
It's still there regardless, and people mainly played X and Y upon release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the thing,
no,
like,
yeah, I'm not denying, like, I'm not saying, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying, like, it's still a problem. It's still a problem.
Fuck the rest of the region for it, but just to talk about that city, navigation in that city is so impossible. They literally have to involve a fucking taxi system to take you where you need to go, because otherwise you're not gonna find it.
Everything looks the same.
Everything looks the same, and they also like. Okay, so blocking off routes and shit, I never cared about that in Pokemon, but this one actually got me a bit mad, and it was... Especially because I was playing this at night, and the guy says to me, you can't get past this point, there's a power cut. Literally, the buildings behind them have their fucking lights on!
That was the moment in the game where I'm just like, something's wrong.
I remember, like, seeing some NPC walk past.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. You can also just see NPCs just walk past it. Fucking excuse me.
What about that guy over there?
Are you even trying anymore?
Like, my favorite part of that was when, because when you find out that, you know, the Saunders behind Team Flyer, it's like, oh, their secret base is in a cafe. And I'm like, which cafe? There's fucking 50 of them.
Oh my god, it took me like half an hour to find the fucking cafe they were talking about.
I actually had to look it up.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
The fucking... The thing with Lysandre, too, is that, like, when you get into that base, you fight him for the first time, and it's a really late game, and then in that base you fight him 4 times.
Mm-hmm. I thought you fight him only twice.
No, you fight him. What?
I thought you fight him.
At least 3 times. You fight him when you. No, doesn't he interrupt you going in? Then you go into the base and he fights you again. Then you go into his control room and he fights you again. And then you fight him again, like when you fought the legendary.
And I think one of them might have been against Xerosic.
I don't care, whatever.
The point is, all the Lysandre encounters are so fucking close to each other, but this team just doesn't change.
It's the same!
X and Y had probably some of the worst story pacing in the entire...
The pacing in X and Y is abysmal.
Can I please sum that up? Please let me go at this, because... Let me just sum up how the journey in X and Y is. So, from the first gem in this game, there is, like, a 4-hour drought of just nothing.
Nothing. I wanted to say 6 hour, but I guess you're being generous today.
I wanted to say it's like at least it's a pretty significant.
I can't even remember. That's the worst part, because I'm just like, did I miss the gym? Am I going to like the 3rd gym? Hold on.
The distance between the 1st and the 2nd gym is, I want to say, almost a third of the whole adventure.
And it's like the only time it ever does that. And it's like, why?
No, in fact, because it does that, you can feel it, because all the other gyms go at fucking rapid pace at you.
Back to back.
And none of them leave an impact.
No, speaking of gym
only-
leaders, I was gonna say, after Gen 5 and all the gym leaders being really interesting and integrated in the main story and they're really active, and then Gen 6 has to have the worst fucking cast of gym. I can't remember half of them. They say have like one line, you fight them, and then they disappear forever.
The only
It's so
Karina's
one that interacts in any form or manner is the third one, who gives you the Mega Ring. And it gives you the Lucario as well, and that one's fine. But then later on, you get to like Olympia, who is probably the worst of them all, because she literally says like a sentence and it's over with, and it is disgustingly easy.
Fun fact, I had to look this up when I was trying to create a worst gym leaders list, which, by the way, spoiler, she would have been number 1.
Yeah.
Good.
She says 11 words.
11 words.
11 words. And
nothing about her. Nothing. It's just more that we're gonna battle. I mean, granted.
No.
Apparently she speaks in haikus, but that is some poor way of demonstrating that pre-battle. For real.
She says one line. How are we supposed to?
I didn't even catch that, if that is truly the case.
I had to look that up.
The thing is as well. Okay, so I caught a phantom outside the gym, and a phantom is a little Pokemon. It's really cute, but its stats are bad because it's a first stage Pokemon. It's basically a baby Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I swept her entire team with that phantom, and it's just like this.
Wasn't her best Pokemon a fucking Meowstick?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is also another like. Especially if you start off with a guy trainer, it's like literally you just fought this Pokemon outside the gym. You literally fought a female Meowstick outside the gym. Even if you're fighting as the female, you are fighting a Meowstick outside the gym.
Can I, on the note of Meowstick, there's this really weird problem in Gen 6 where some of the starting Pokemon are actually really cool designs. And then they evolve and it's ruined. Like, that happens a lot in this gen.
I'd like to talk. Ian, can you throw up Helioptile and Heliolisk for me?
Oh god,
Please,
man. Let me talk about the hype that Owen, my dear friend, had for a little cute Pokemon called Helioptile, and it was cute. Look at his ears; he's so small. Then he performs like an Animorph's garbage and becomes a monster.
I wanted a really cool electric dragon type. I get this. I fucking love lizards, but this thing's horrible.
It is the worst lizard. Also the typing.
Well, I said a normal type! For what purpose?
Nothing about this is normal.
Legit. And, like, yeah, Meow, like, I really, like, despite the early memes that came out of him, I really did Esper a lot. And then and you get Meowstick, and it's just, oh.
Yeah, Esper's a really cool design, and then it evolved.
I'm happy they used it later on for a much better game. But in terms of like a design, I was very disappointed by that. Hit me hard. Right before the game's release, I thankfully saw this. Originally, the starter I was gonna pick was Chespin.
Oh, I know exactly where this is going.
But man, that evolution, Sonic the Hedgehog? No.
No, I know so many Pokemon who. I know so many people, rather, not Pokemon. Christ.
You wish you knew Pokemon.
I wish I knew Pokemon, but like I knew a lot of people who were like gonna pick Chespin, and then everyone saw Quilladin, and they immediately jumped ship to Froakie.
Yes.
Froakie is like the small little candlelight that is within this dark grass, because he evolves into probably one of my, if not my favorite Pokemon.
Greninja is pretty rad.
Greninja is amazing.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I picked Greninja. I picked Froakie out on a whim. I was why not? Why not? I picked Froakie, and then it turns out, and it just happens. It just kind of became my among my favorite starter Pokemon. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Right under Trico for me.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I love Greninja. It's such a cool little Pokemon.
Especially there are there are some pretty cool Pokemon in Generation 6 as well, and Generation 5, yes, but
in like the very small amount that Gen 6 gives you.
Yeah, there's like 72 Pokemon in general, and there are plenty of Pokemon I still like from it. I like Trevenant, I like Greninja, I like the Aegislash line, I like Xerneas, I like Hawlucha.
I like Pangoro.
There's plenty of cool looking Pokemon still, but there's such a low amount. There's such a lack of Gen 6 like there's like 450 Pokemon in the Kalos Pokédex. And I think
60 of them are actually Kalos Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think less than 20% of maybe 20%, I don't know.
The point
is that Gen 6 does what Black and White 2 did with its Pokemon choices, but way worse.
Yeah.
Because of the overabundance of the other gens that just completely clutter the small amount that Gen 6 ended up having.
Yeah, because like in Black and White 2, like sure you had all these like all the best Pokemon for gens, but you also had a lot of the really good ones from Gen 5 still there. And I still remember having like at least 2 Gen 5 Pokemon on my end Black and White 2 team.
I remember my champion team for my initial playthrough of X. I'll admit I ended off with Xerneas because why not? My journey, screw you. I ended off with Greninja. I ended off with the Doublade. Doublade is my favorite Pokemon from the generation. By the way,
it's really the 2 swords.
Story for another time. Yeah, the 2 swords one.
Okay.
Story for another time. But the other half, Gengar, Nidoking, and Chandelure. I should probably mention with Greninja, Doublade, and Xerneas. I almost said Xerosic. That would have been terrible. I think those might have been the only Gen 6 Pokemon I had on my rotation.
Yeah, I was trying.
I had like a bunch of other Pokemon, I believe. I remember having Venusaur. I remember having Pikachu, Garchomp. Shit, I forgot all the Pokemon I had.
Oh, God. I just wanted to say, like, I really tried to have at least like a couple of Kalos Pokemon on my team. I ended up going, like, besides Greninja, I ended up going with Pangoro and Tyrantrum because they were my favorite designs.
Tyrantrum,
Tyrantrum was really cool.
But I also wanted to mention my 2 other favorite designs, being Pangoro and Tyrantrum, weren't even really from the main Pokemon designer. They were like from some guy who works on Mega Man. Like, I just felt like throwing that out there.
God damn.
Thanks.
Well, I mean, it works.
It does. I'm just, again, just throwing it out there.
But you mentioned champion there, TP, and I wanted to say that this game, next to Emerald, has the worst champion.
I'd say it's worse than Emerald.
Worse than Emerald.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that. I'm just saying next to.
All right, okay, fair enough.
Like, say it's in the bottom 2 for me.
That's fair.
I still don't like Wallace I still like Wallace less, but at the same time,
this champion had the same problem as Lysander, where like the design is so crazy and like out of place, where you just kind of forget about her completely. Because that was like the one time she ever shows up, and then randomly when you get to the champion, she's just kind of there, and you're like, oh yeah. No. She appears like
twice.
Was it twice?
Twice. It's twice. I know it's hot. She appears once when I can't remember, and the second time she appears at the cafe where Team Flare is.
I think Cynthia also didn't appear all too often in Pokemon.
She appeared pretty decently.
Cynthia was at least a big part of the plot.
And at least in Platinum, but at least
Diane,
even in Diamond and Pearl, she had some semblance of a presence.
It was way more than Diane, like no matter what. And yeah. I swear to God, the game wants you to treat it as a twist that she was a champion. And I'm just like, Wait, who the fuck were you again?
Hey, remember when the anime treated her as that as a twist? No, I didn't.
God. But like another thing that I thought was worth bringing up. So Team Flare grunts have like full models when you fight them, right? Gym leaders, Elite Four members, and the champion use regular artwork.
They use cutouts.
They use
which
cutout
is
portraits.
atrocious.
Which really is disappointing because this also transferred to freaking Oras, where okay, Maxie and Archie, they get full models. Your rival, she gets a full model. Or he, Wally.
At least Steven Stone had a fucking model in that game.
Yeah. At least the champion had one.
Not here.
But
though.
why not the rest of Team Magma or Team Aqua? Why not?
Or like
freaking not. You want? I guess they wanted to push like the fact that it was 3D so much that they applied it to their freaking grunts and lore and blah.
Don't worry, they pushed the 3D factor way more in the next gen.
I also want to bring up like but like this in OS, like the gym leaders, the Elite Four members, and then in that game's case the grunts, they go to regular artwork again, and it's just kind of meh.
I mean, the artwork itself isn't necessarily bad. It's just
it just feels
it's just like come on.
It just makes them feel so much more insignificant, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's sad because like it is pretty sad because well, you're giving it to the one of the least interesting teams.
Not even one of the least interesting, the worst. Generally, like everything about Team Flare is total garbage. And speaking of total garbage, one thing I'm surprised we haven't brought up yet. Can we talk about that fucking quote unquote group of friends you have in NXT?
God, I thought we were done. God, Lord, if you do exist,
fucking Lord,
on me.
How long have we gone on our Gen 6?
I don't know, but I'm starting to sweat.
Longer than the Gen 5 positives.
God. Yeah, I felt like they're worth bringing up.
Your group of friends... Actually. No, it's fine. Let me just go over this real quick. Your group of friends are totally forgettable. There's a fat one who wants to dance, and your rival's a whiny bitch. That's it.
There's a girl you ever...
I'm sorry, rival. I'm doing finger quotes. You can't see me do it.
It's so funny because, like, Gen 5 and later on Gen 7 does the group of friends thing, and it's so much fucking better in those games. Like, Christ.
You know, your friends in Gen 6 suck.
Like, it's just this weird thing with Gen 6 where it's like, it's in between Gen 5 and Gen 7, and it's just like, what happened here?
Alright, now let's fucking stop talking about X and Y. I can't anymore. let me talk about something positive with Gen 6, because Omega, Ruby, Alpha Sapphire are actually extremely good remakes.
It was one of those cases that I was just very shocked. After, like, X and Y happened, I was very scared for Pokemon at that point. It's like, oh, can they just not do it now? Like, what team did they get for this? But then, the moment I got Omega Ruby, I actually ended up getting it day one. The moment you start up the game, and it goes back to, like, the opening of the original Gen 3 games, and it cuts out from him just, like, playing it, it's great.
Like,
it's fantastic.
Like, honestly, like, I was not very hyped for that game. Like, it was like, oh, it's a gen I didn't very much care for as a kid, remade with a gen that I fucking hate now. I don't know, but you know, of course, because I'm a slave, I picked it up day one anyway. And I was so shocked at how much it elevated, how much I liked that gen. Because ORAS seems to have got out of its way to specifically fix the things I didn't like about Gen 3.
I want to say, as far as pure remake quality itself goes, ORAS has to be the best. It does so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are some things people don't like about them. They're too easy, I think, and the Gen 6 models, admittedly, while it looks better in X and Y, it still doesn't look great. But honestly, it's just Magma and Agma specifically. Sorry, did I say
Yes,
Magma?
that's okay.
Magma and Aqua. Like, they turned, like, in the original games, they were just land rocket and water rocket. Here, group of scientists, group of pirates. Thank you so much.
They have so much
Absolutely
personality
great.
now. It's great.
Absolutely fantastic.
And their models show it too. Like, say when you beat Maxie in the battle for the first time, and he has that sudden reaction, his glasses fall apart, that he's quickly like, oh god. And then he's like, huh, I guess you won.
Yeah, like that's what I'm talking about, like specifically fixing the problems I had, because I didn't care much for like I liked the dynamic they had, but I didn't care much for the actual teams in the original game. But oh my god, I love them now, especially Team Aqua, because they're just a bunch of fucking punk ass pirates, and it's great.
Oris elevated them to probably be my favorite team, honestly. I mean, I know Team Plasma has a lot going for it, and I'm not saying it doesn't. It's great. They're great, but Oris really add a lot, and I mean a lot, to both teams.
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna complain about that. I love Team Aqua and Aqua. Like, holy shit.
Well, one thing,
and I like how even the I know we probably would prefer, I don't know, Shelly's old design or Tabitha's old design to the new design.
Are you kidding me?
No, hold on.
I was gonna say a lot of people. I see a lot of people say that, and like, okay, fine, but even then, they show off a lot more personality now. They show, like, especially these remakes have done so much to make them more interesting outside of a parent design.
Speaking of like the designs,
especially with the other admins, like Matt before was just chubby fellow, and and now he's
big muscle soul.
Courtney goes from wearing a dress to having purple hair, and okay, she changed the least, but I don't mind it either.
Yeah.
Like, I know you like Courtney's design, TP.
Honestly, when I first looked at Courtney's design, I felt it honestly almost felt like they based it more off of the manga's design of her.
Yeah, right.
Like it actually felt like directly based off of that manga design. I'm like, huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's not a bad thing.
But no, I like them a lot more. But we talked about how this has the best pure remake quality. And I wanted to bring up some fan feedback, because a lot of people are like, I don't like this because it ignores things from Emerald, and I'm like, what things?
Yeah, I was gonna mention like the Battle Frontier, right?
I don't care.
And I don't care.
Hate that place.
I always hated the Battle Frontier, and the fact that this game fixed up so much of the story by adding just more character to everyone, not even like the rival teams you got, including your rival, has so much more to him now.
Oh my
the
god,
fight you have with Wally is insane before the Elite Four. The moment the fucking guitars hit is crazy.
You see all the fucking flower field?
It's like a crazy anime.
And like,
can we also mention the final battle with your rival actually has her or him using the final evolution?
Yes, and you get a final battle with your rival after the Elite Four, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
It's still a really easy fight, but like it adds so much more to that character than there ever was in the original.
It means so much more now to the story. That and like the fight with your dad, who was the gym leader.
Oh my god, yeah, they so much more emphasize the fact that your dad is a gym leader and that you beat him, and it's great.
My dad's alive!
It's, like, I'm trying to think, like, cause when people say, oh, it ignore, like, I guess there's the fact that stuck multi-battles fucking everywhere, like, great.
Who cares? Fuck that.
Like, I don't get that complaint. Like, I'm pretty sure that is just geared towards the battle frontier, and my response to that is, good fucking riddance.
That and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire added an amazing, like, after-game story bit called the Delta episode.
It was very nice.
So much, which I prefer so highly to the battle frontier. Like that little story also adds its own character, Zinnia, and she's great.
Not to mention, elsewhere, literally every legendary that isn't from Gen 1 or Gen 6, like, apart from events, they're all able to be captured between Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. All of them.
There's also because there's this really neat system where you can like ride your Latios and you can actually just fly over Hoenn, like a fully detailed map of Hoenn.
This is literally everything I ever wanted. I could do without the dumb airplane mega form, but whatever.
And you can fly to pretty much any route, or any city, or some special islands. Like, assuming you've been to like the routes or cities before,
you can go there.
Yeah.
And it's such a neat feature.
And if you met certain conditions, like if you have like a cast form in your party, oh look, over Fortree City, there's a cloud. What's in the cloud? Oh, it's thunderous or tornadus. What is that? You freaking have this. Like, there's just a lot of things, like a lot more to it. Like, also, the fact that you can fly with freaking Latios and Latias, it gets rid of the need to use. Like,
it's kind of a precursor in a weird way of a system used like on the moon, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love it.
It's such a neat feature, and just I don't know, the region itself feels like it has a lot more personality to me. Mm-hmm. The music is a fuck ton better.
Yeah, because of like the 3DS now, you can get so much better sound quality. Honestly, because of that, or has become like right next to Black and White as one of the best soundtracks.
Yeah,
like I love all the songs.
Not to mention, I know it's a joke that 7.8 too much water. I know it's more attributed to this game because of IGN and blah blah blah. I think it's the best here.
The surfing just feels better. Like it feels faster and stuff. It also in the originals, it was so repetitive to look at.
Not as much here. Not to mention, there are more trainers, including trainers in the water that aren't just restricted to using water-type Pokemon. Like, I remember a trainer near Sutopla City having a fucking Rhydon. I know this. It's an insignificant trainer with a Rhydon, but it's a Pokemon that isn't a water type.
And it just feels like a much more developed generation. The story feels better again. I really like Delta episode and the new character that came with that.
Which again was shocking to me because after Gen 6 especially, you didn't think they would be able to pull that off. You would think with that kind of team that handled X and Y, I understand it's a template game and such, but you would think they would just make it worse. Which for many, like you mentioned, Cam, you were in that subcategory, you didn't care for Gen 3.
Yeah, I didn't care for Gen 3, but I really, I was so pleasantly surprised with Auras. Like a lot of, that new character added to the Delta episode is probably one of my favorite Pokemon characters, only because she feels a bit like N in that she feels like a character who wouldn't, typically be in a Pokemon game.
But she shockingly feels welcome at home here.
Yeah. That's really neat. The other player character has more personality, and even then they realize that as a villain they're still not great, so they give Wally a lot more focus. And again, the last battle you have right before the Elite Four is some fucking great shit.
It's pretty metal.
I noticed Owen left.
Yeah, no, he died. Don't worry about that. I was hoping no one would notice.
All right.
But thank you for pointing that out.
I'm sure he's just gonna come back and just be angry that he died during this conversation. I think the most mixed thing I feel on would be the fact that they basically give you one of the Latios, either Latios or Latias, depending.
Another thing that contributes to the overall trend of Gen 6 and that the difficulty barely exists. Yeah.
That being said, I personally accommodated for that by intentionally having Latios be underleveled.
You know how I accommodate for that? Just box the fucking thing.
Well, you see,
I got past it by not putting on the experience share, and also like catching Latios. I don't give a shit. I'm using Latios because it's fucking Latios.
Yeah, that's basically my thing. This is my favorite Gen 3 Pokemon. Fuck you, I'm using it.
God damn, you're right. High five. Whoa.
Woo!
But yeah, no.
But
Actually, there's one thing about Gen 6 in general that I want to talk about because I have very mixed feelings about it.
I mean, go ahead. We gotta draw this thing out quick.
The introduction of Mega Evolutions.
Yeah, I was wondering if everyone was just gonna completely forget about that as we jump into Gen 7. Like, hey guys, remember Mega Evolutions?
Honestly,
I thought we were going to talk about during X and Y, but especially after bringing up Karina, the one that gave you the Mega
Yeah, the
Ring,
third gym leader there, but we hate that game so much we just want to get past it. But yes, Mega Evolutions were a thing in Gen 6, where they're like super forms of some Pokemon. If you have like
some of the
a certain
designs, I like
item.
some of the way. I like the ways some Pokemon worked, but
I like
honestly feels really badly implemented.
Yeah.
Some of the abilities the Pokemon get from Mega Evolutions are unbelievably ridiculous.
Remember how Mega Rayquaza literally has his own tier?
Mega Rayquaza literally breaks the Uber tier, destroys God, and is in its own category of literally fuck it.
Anything goes.
Mega Kangaskhan can just attack twice, cause fuck it. It just feels like a feature that is there for like nostalgia whoring and wasn't really like properly thought of in a gameplay sense.
On the other hand, I still kind of like, because it is like, it does add another layer of strategy, because there are Pokemon that can work with or without Mega Evolutions, or Pokemon that have multiple, like especially with Charizard, there can be like,
not all of them are badly implemented, but I feel like enough of them are to the point where like it feels like it's a pretty half-baked addition.
Yeah, not with the champion battle and ORAS that, but I get you.
Also, another thing we're bringing up, like so many of the ones, especially added to ORAS, like are so memorable. Fucking remember Mega Pidgeot? I didn't until just now because I looked it up.
Sorry, I burned for a couple minutes. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Mega Evolutions because we completely forgot to mention them when we were talking about X and Y.
Yeah, there's shit. Moving on.
Yeah.
I still like some of them, but
I agree. I like Mega Aerodactyl. I like
Mega
Gengar.
Mega Gengar. Mega. I've come to really love Mega Altaria, actually.
Anyway.
I don't even recall that one, but I just want to say, I love Mega Aerodactyl too. Just add spikes on him.
He has a big spike beard.
Again, I feel like it was just kind of a half-baked feature of a
considering by the next gen they just completely forgot they existed.
Yeah. For the better.
Absolutely. So we done it with ORAS and X and Y?
Yeah.
Unless you had anything else to say on ORAS since you cut out for most of that.
It's good. It's probably my third favorite.
I was gonna say third sounds about right.
Yeah, something like that.
What else is there? No, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
Thank God. Okay, now.
Wait. There's. What about this? What about Super Mystery Dungeon?
That's
what we were about to go into.
What? Okay. Let me talk about one of my favorite games this year. Because yes, and I keep telling Cam to finish, but he won't do it.
I'm a little bitch.
You are a little bitch. It's true. Super Mystery Dungeon. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Like, that game.
That game really went right back around and got not as good as Mystery Dungeon 2, but it went for a very similar quality.
Not perfect like Mystery Dungeon 2 is. Absolutely perfect. But there are certain things I feel it does better. It's a much slower paced game, so it's got that against it. But what it does better, it has a much more not simplified, but it has a much more what's the word to put it? The battle system. It just seems much more suited to Mystery Dungeon, and it does a lot better.
The game feels a lot more like you feel a lot more like you're actually in this, like in terms of like having to survive. Because if there's one thing Super Mystery Dungeon does, it's crank the fucking difficulty up.
Oh my god, it's such a difficult game.
If you do not bring plenty of reviver seeds in there, you are absolutely going to get destroyed.
But that also helps because like now every dungeon feels like a fucking survival scenario, and
let me tell you,
stuff.
While it has a slow start, when shit hits the fan, it just keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going until the end of the game.
Like mentioned with Black and White 1, where it has possibly a slow start to it, the payoff by the end of it is some of the best you're ever gonna get with Pokemon.
Like, I'm right in the middle of it, and it's great.
Let me tell you, the ending has to be the saddest in the series.
Yes.
That was ridiculous.
The twisted throws.
Pull on you at the end.
All right. Don't. I still need to finish it. Why I haven't, I have no.
Oh man, you haven't finished it. You both fucking.
Well, we're not spoiling anything.
I will not say anything, but I will say absolutely play it just for that moment. And let me tell you, that moment alone made me immediately play like the first mission available in the after game.
Yes, because you have to. You can't leave it like that.
Like, goddamn, that hurt.
It has the best final dungeon in the series. It has the best final boss in the series.
I'd say it has the overall, like, better characters, probably?
Yes, the partner you have in that game is the best character ever. Holy shit, that... I can't say anymore, but please, I actually begging you.
Froakie, he's the best.
Actually begging you to finish this game, and you are missing out so much on that ending.
All right, if I could, that being said, if I can say one good thing about Super Mystery Dungeon just from starting it, the first thing you see is pretty much it's using the 3DS camera and it's just whatever's outside.
Yeah, you're entering the Pokemon world. It's great.
That's great. That's such a nice little touch.
And with the little personality test, like you could say it's like, yeah, this is what it gave you, but if you don't want it, whatever.
Just choose the plenty of other Pokemon we have.
Like it forces
something it fixed from Gates.
Yeah, like you in Gates, you picked whichever one, and you don't get a personality test, so you can't even try.
Yeah,
and it's also a nice step above even the original Mystery Dungeon games, because now it's like, oh, you didn't get the starter you want. Well, in
those games, do it again.
In those games, it's like tough shit. In this game, it's like, okay, man, just pick it.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, as a big improvement from Super Mystery Dungeon, other than the difficulty, because I really appreciate that. It adds a lot more to, like, especially the plot. I just really like the team recruitment aspect we have going here. Because it feels like way more in-depth and part of the plot than any of the other games. Because, like, once you recruit a Pokemon, like, it pulls up this huge chart of, like, all the Pokemon. It gives us this little check mark, and it slowly connects with other Pokemon to go get, and that's great.
It's fantastic. Please play Super Mystery Dungeon. It is definitely the best spin-off in Gen 6. Are there any spin-offs? Who gives a shit? Who cares?
I do want to, like, again, accentuate the difficulty value. In particular, I want to mention to two moments. One moment where you are, like, first introduced to the like recruitment system, and one of the fucking missions you have to do while you're at, like, level 10, take out a level 50 Salamence.
That wasn't fun, no.
And another moment with less egregious, but still, like, what the fuck? Challenge to a boss fight with a Jirachi, and it's just like, what the fuck is this?
Well, to be fair, the Jirachi one you can at least lose.
Yeah, you can lose and it's fine. The game doesn't expect you to win.
Okay, but like, I just wanted to mention that because holy shit, that called me off guard.
Yeah,
And
no,
you can win, and
The
I
worst
did.
moment is still the Salamence, easily.
Yes. Are there any other Gen 6 spin-offs?
Well, there are two
Yeah.
spin-off games, but they don't really fall under any gen necessarily,
Those being...
which are Pokkén Tournament and Pokemon Go.
Oh. Do we have to... Alright. Who here has Pokkén?
I have Pokkén.
I'm waiting to see what I'm waiting to see what happens with the DLC characters before I make.
Okay, well, I'll throw this out there then, quickly. Pokkén was, when it came out, extremely fun. When you have people to play it with, it's a fucking blast. The battle system is amazingly fun. Every single character feels good. The problem with Pokkén is that there is a very limited character roster, and not much to do.
Yeah.
Like, the story mode sucks, Nick. Really, all you're going to be doing is playing people online.
And the online
And it's
community is so
fun
dead.
It's dead now, and it was fun as fuck when it came out, but people just started ditching it, and now it's sadly dead. And I want to see a sequel to Pokkén so badly with more characters because I feel like it could take off very well. I would fucking love it, and I don't regret my purchase. I had a lot of fun with Pokkén.
But right now, it's only really a game you can enjoy if you have a couple other friends who also have Pokkén.
Yes.
And what else was there?
Well,
Pokemon Go.
we kind of have to talk about this.
Don't have to.
Don't
It's
really
a little
have
big.
to.
If I can say at least one positive thing about Pokemon Go, it brought back so many people.
That's true.
Yeah.
It really.
It was
boosted
a
Pokemon
huge
to me
impact when the whole every news channel talked about it. It was that big.
Like when I went to visit Owen and another friend, like I walked into a convenience store one day there, and like I looked at the fucking like racks of all the papers on it, and one of them just had a giant Pikachu picture right on the front.
Yes. And I dare say it brought it back to like red, blue, yellow days of glory.
Absolutely. Pokemon is at its highest since then.
And
No.
like, it's had great effects on the sales of Sun and Moon.
No,
With that being said,
that
though,
being said, the game itself doesn't function.
the game itself is kind of terrible.
Kind of.
It was addicting at first, and just for the mere concept of walking around catching Pokemon, it's fun, it's good, it's great. But the game is, oh my god, it doesn't work.
As a person who lives out in basically the middle of nowhere in my neighborhood, there was nothing to catch. It immediately got so boring to me, and half the time I couldn't even connect to the server. It was just a very, very shoddy experience that I was expecting some form of an update to fix, but as we all know, the updates that came around actually kind of ruined the game even more.
Yeah.
Great.
I had constant server issues. I had constant issues with like the GPS tracking the thing uses for some reason. Like, and like the bits of when I got it to work, it's like, I mean, this is a great novelty and all, but it just runs out at a certain point.
Still waiting for Gen 2 Pokemon.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I just like
getting kind of sick of the Pidgeys.
It was all fun when the game was all hype and stuff, but now like it's still got a pretty big like player base, but right now the most I can take away from it is the effects it's had on the franchise as a whole, all of which being rather positive. So I'm appreciative, if nothing else.
So I guess we're done with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And now
well, TV didn't say anything on Pokemon Go.
to the review. And what we've all been doing, like we mentioned in the very beginning, if you're still here with us, I wouldn't blame you if you weren't, but if you're still here with us, now it's time we talk about the thing we've all been all up to, the very, very pleasant surprise that was Gen 7 Pokemon Sun and Moon.
This was an anti-Gen 6 for me because I was not very hyped for this game. There was a lot coming out about it. Everyone's like, yeah, this looks so cool, and I'm like, it looks okay. It's alright. And one thing in particular, I'm going to admit, on public for the first time, catch it right now, one admits he was wrong. Because I don't know why, I hated the music in this game before it came out. I thought it was terrible. And I played the game and I'm like, oh my god, this soundtrack's fantastic. What the fuck was I doing? I don't understand why I hated the music so much. Even now I'm looking back on it, I'm like, I think I was just really bitter about X and Y.
Sometimes when you just finally get into the experience and see for yourself, it just kind of clicks with you.
Yeah.
That's just how we all are with some things, and you know what? That's okay.
In our particular group of friends, like, I was the only one who was, like, remotely excited from it, and even then, it was like a mild excitement. It was like, yeah, this looks kind of cool.
It was also next.
I was gonna get it
regardless,
but
like, it was definitely nowhere near like X and Y levels of hype when I went into that, and honestly, I think it helped.
Yes.
Like, I turned such a blind eye to like all of X and Y's problems when that game came out.
This game is the opposite, because I looked through a fucking detective's glass on this one. I'm just like, expecting all the cracks and shit.
And it's like, wait, there are barely any. There are still a couple. Don't get me wrong. Like, Sun and Moon is not a perfect game in the slightest. But it is such a nice relief to have to see that they can totally do a new gen still and completely change the formula at some points.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I mentioned before, that I really liked the GameCube Pokemon games because they, played like Pokemon games, but they changed up the general formula. Pokemon Sun and Moon does this, but it spits in the fucking face of the GameCube games in terms of quality.
Yeah, because you don't have to fucking do double battles all the time.
And the story is actually decent at points.
Yeah, like, it is so much better than that. And it's just, for doing it...
Nope. Oh, he died. Oh, too bad. That's the end of the review. Cam, are you back with us?
Yeah.
Okay, what were you saying then?
It's just, like, for a game that does it, like... It's for a new, like, for a mainline game to do a new thing for the first time in 20 years, it pulls it off, like, pretty goddamn well.
Yes, I will say the biggest strength of Sun and Moon right now is the new trial system. It is so much. It's just so refreshing after.
Yeah, there's no longer gym leaders. There's now these little mini challenges with some characters that are the equivalent of gym leaders, and they'll tell you to do like specific things, like, hey, go find these Pokemon in there. Go collect materials for ingredients to catch the really big boss Pokemon. Because that's how these trials work. Is that in the end of them, you fight like a big, powerful boss Pokemon that's new to the generation. They're basically the equivalent of RPG bosses.
I want to admit something as well. I thought at first, I'm like, this is such a good idea, because I thought, it doesn't even look like it's going to be a real... I could just sweep these anyway, but then I played it and I'm like, these are the best bosses we've had ever. Because they are just like RPG bosses. There's one point the second one actually summons like a white mage to heal itself, and I'm like, oh
yeah. Pokemon are now calling reinforcements, as opposed to the stupid idea that I actually forgot about Gen 6 had called Horde battles, where there'd be like 5 different Pokemon you had to fight. But here, Pokemon will actually call reinforcements to help them out if they're in a pinch. Now, at some points, kind of annoying, not gonna lie. But in the cases of the boss fights, it's really neat because they'll do like different stat boosts or like debuffs on you in order to make the fight a lot more challenging, and I like that approach.
Or like one I wanted to bring was the Lurantis fight, like the grass one. It can summon a cast form that not like it, which uses cast form. Which not only makes it so that the Lurantis can use what's basically the physical equivalent of Solar Beam, but because of that, like, the fight, like, that side as well has a lot more type coverage, because it's then, like, fire and grass, which you have to, like, find a workaround for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
TP, you haven't said much yet. What do you think?
It's just really, really cool.
What do you think
partially it's because my frickin' internet, for some reason, has been just cutting out as well.
Nice.
But I've been able to hear the general stuff, and I was like, yeah, I can, like, you had healers with the second one. You have the Lurantis one. You have, like, my favorite is the 6th one. My favorite, like, I think we can all agree the 6th one is
What, Totem
probably-
Mimikyu?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily.
The entire scenario has the best atmosphere.
It's also the fight that scared me the most.
Oh my god, that fight was so... I mean, okay, Cam apparently breezed through it, but it's really difficult if you don't have the right Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for a lot of people who've tried to probably one-shot it with their Z move.
Raising my hand, raising my hand.
Raising my hand.
Only for Mimikyu's disguise to go off.
I completely forgot about ability, and I suffered because of it. I thought I could be a cheeky bitch with Light Decidueye, who is also a really cool starter, by the way. And then, no, it's true evil forms, and I suffer because of it, because, man, my Decidueye could only take, like, 2 hits from that thing.
Yeah.
And it was so fast! It's so fast!
It's so fast.
Mimikyu is surprisingly a good Pokemon.
It's shockingly probably the best Pokemon of the gen!
It's my favorite without any no competition.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Best Gen 7 Pokemon for me by a long shot.
But I was not expecting, like, I was only considering it, like, to be a favorite just by looks and concept alone. I didn't expect it to be a
good Pokemon.
A disgustingly good Pokemon.
I loved Mimikyu's design. I loved the whole idea behind it, and I was like, yo, even if this Pokemon is like the shittiest thing, I'm still keeping it on my team.
Yes.
And then when I heard everyone talk about how great it was, I'm like, oh, yes.
When it can actually, like, go through multiple Elite Four members and just take nothing.
Dude, the last fucking Totem battle is a Totem powered up pseudo-legendary, and Mimikyu can just one-shot the fucking thing.
Yeah, my Alakazam was the one who one-shot it, but I've heard everyone else has basically just used the Mimikyu for that.
Do you Mimikyu play rough dead?
God.
Yes. It can't do a thing. Fuck, what was I gonna...
You wanted to. That first turn, it still can't do anything. Mimikyu prevents it.
It's ridiculous.
I love this little abomination.
On that note, this gen has noticeably better Pokemon designs than the last one.
Yeah.
There are few, but they have very high quality.
Yeah, I mean, there are still more than the gen beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can't really draw myself to one I dislike at the moment, honestly.
Not that I can think of, other than some Alola forms.
Okay, all right. Let's not talk about Alolan Persian.
I'm sorry, I was just giving an example.
There's one, like, non-Alolan form Pokemon from Sun and Moon that I really dislike, but
what is it?
It's Incineroar.
Oh,
I fucking hate Incineroar so much.
I'm not a fan of how it evolves.
I wouldn't say I hate it, but I don't care for it.
I
just wanted a dumb fire cat. Why do I get this weird cat wrestler hybrid thing? This looks so dumb and terrible.
It's not a firefighting Pokemon, but it sure looks like one.
It sure looks like one.
Yeah,
I don't care for it.
No, I don't like it at all.
I will say though, the moment I saw my little owl. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't hate it, but I certainly don't care for it, especially not as much as the opera singing seal or the
dead archer owl who is amazing.
He's so cool.
Easily, like, I'm so glad too, because like it didn't turn out to be like Chespin, where his second evolution wasn't garbage and turned me off.
Okay, like all of you have said before that you like the Trico line the most. I gotta be honest though, in terms of grass lines, Trico was for the longest time first. Rowlet's my new favorite, like, grass starter line.
I can see that, although I still like Trico better.
I can see that.
I can completely understand that as I say that with a Decidueye icon in the call.
Like, I love Rowlet is so adorable.
Yes.
I love Dartrix.
I love Edgeworth.
And it's dumb little fringe. And the Decidueye is just great.
Yes. He's a really cool Z move too.
I want to bring up a Pokemon that I absolutely love from this gen, and it's God knows if I'm pronouncing this right. Galiciopod?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's how you say it. Close enough.
Because it starts out as this tiny little wimpy Pokemon. Its stats are horrible. It runs away. Well, it still runs away, which is kind of funny. It runs away when it gets to half health. It's like such an awful, awful Pokemon, and it evolves into this huge fucking tank of a monster. Its stats are off the board, and it learns all these priority moves.
It's
and the
pretty
funny
scary.
The funny thing is, though, it still runs away at half health.
Yeah, it's still got a bit of that
But
fear in him.
But even that, that's less like, oh, I'm running away because I'm scared. But it's more like,
Strategic
fuck,
retreat.
I need to heal or something.
Strategic retreat, I like to say. But in a very similar vein, another Pokemon that I really like as well, Wishy-Washy.
Oh my
who,
god.
like, on its own is this, like, pathetic little fish with terrible stats, who constantly
It has
looks
the
like
lowest
he's on
base
the
stats.
verge
Yeah,
of-
the
who
lowest base
constantly
stats on a
looks-
Pokemon ever.
Yeah, and then he, like, when you get him to level 20, he can use his ability School Mode, and then it's literally turns from this little pathetic fish into, you've come to the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker.
Yeah, because like its base stats are above 500 something. Ridiculous how good it is.
Its base stat total is above the totem not the totem, like the deities of each island.
God damn.
It's pretty disgusting.
God, yeah.
The Pokemon I wanted to mention like aren't necessarily amazing in stats, but like I really liked them. The first moment I saw them, I love Crabrawler because he's this cute little boxing crab who reminds me so
Yes.
much of like Dudley and Little Mac that I just immediately wanted him. And thankfully, it's the case that you could easily get when you come across like berries because he's sometimes just hiding in there like chilling and eating some, and then which you can easily find on all the other islands too. So you can find like high level like of the same type. And which is nice, especially considering his evolution. How you have to evolve him is kind of dumb. Where
Extremely
the
so.
only way to evolve a Crabrawler is literally at the end of the game.
Victory Road.
A less egregious example of that, but still pretty bad, is
Vikavolt.
Vikavolt, another Pokemon that I incidentally really, really fucking like. But yeah, you get like Grubbin at first. He evolves into for me, he evolved into Charjabug at the first island,
Yeah.
and then like it takes until the last island for him to go into Vikavolt. Thankfully, Charjabug can hold his own.
Charjabug
relatively
is
decently.
surprisingly good.
Yeah,
Yeah, he can hold his own. To give credit where credit is due.
I like them. Go ahead. You can mention it.
Are we still talking about Pokemon? Because then just you talk first.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna mention another one that it turned out to be a kind of a highlight for my team was the Salandit, and how thankfully I looked this up beforehand when I did catch a Salandit's evolution, where you had to catch a female one to get it evolved, and I thought it was great when I had it with a nasty plot. Salazzle turned out to be a surprisingly good one, especially for the Elite Four.
I like it was too frail. But are we done with Pokemon? Because I want to talk about.
I was gonna say,
Unless we want to talk about the Alolan forms real quick.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Alolan forms are cool. They're basically like old school RPG variants of enemies where you'd have a different color of something and it'd be like a different.
But I love the explanation for this because it's all like, oh, they adapted to different climates, and it's like, oh, that's such a neat world building.
That actually
detail.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And some of the designs I think are just better than the originals. Like I love Alolan Raichu; it's so adorable.
Some
Alolan
some of
Sandshrew
the
is cute
some
as
of the
fuck.
designs are a hit, some not so much.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you, Persian. You
I'm not
fucking.
gonna view Persian, but like you've got Alolan Marowak, who's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marowak's one of
Alolan-
my favorites.
You've got Alolan Executor, who is
No.
The dragon.
it's
Yeah.
how would
What are you talking
my
about? That's one of the
color
best
dragons?
what are you talking about? That's one of the best designs of this generation.
God,
I knew someone was gonna say that.
Yeah, no, like as a general idea of like varying up old Pokemon, I think Alolan forms are a lot cooler than Mega Evolutions
Yes,
were.
a much better idea. I wish they'd give it to some Pokemon that aren't Gen 1, but maybe we'll get that later.
Yeah,
Not to mention something else that I think is done much better: Z moves.
C moves are a very cool concept because you can one once per battle. It's an extremely powered up move. like say your attack is like a 90 attack, it'll take it up a base 180 power. It's disgusting, but again, you can only use it once.
Yeah.
So you have to choose wisely about how you use it.
Which is why I ended up preferring it over Mega Evolutions.
I think you could do it as well. It doesn't only apply to offensive moves.
Yeah,
Like,
if
No, because at one point I had like Aqua Ring on my Wishy-Washy and Synthesis on my Decidueye, and like if you have the right like Z Crystal, it could be like a powered up version of that.
you can still raise your stats and such.
Yeah.
So it's not just for offensive moves.
The one thing I wish though, like at first the animations are cool, but man, later on, kind of wish there was an option to skip the animations for him.
Speak for yourself. The Decidueye Z move is too cool.
Okay,
Owen and I actually had a little battle earlier, and like I felt that was a good example of what we mean, because in our battle, I used my Z move, like Primarina's Z move, against his Alolan Muck, and it didn't KO. Yeah, he used Decidueye's
Yes.
Z move against my Alolan Ninetales, and it was able to like one shot it.
Oh, wasn't I? Was it Ninetales? Yes, it was Ninetales. You're right.
Like, imagine what would have happened if I sent out a Pokemon that somehow resisted his Z move, or if he sent out like Decidueye against my Primarina's Z move.
Yeah. Spirit Bomb.
It is a Spirit Bomb.
I know it is.
It's so scary. But aside from all that, one of the greatest strengths and what makes the story in these games so good is that the characters, I don't think they've ever been done better. The characters
I
are
love
written amazingly in this gen.
Like Ian knows this about me, but character writing is like one of my biggest weaknesses when it comes to like storytelling in games. Like for me, that almost beats out everything else, and I was so happy to see it done so well in Sun and Moon.
With Lily alone, yes.
Yeah,
she is the best written character in all of Pokemon.
She is outright the best character Pokemon has ever had, pretty much.
She goes through an incredible arc that lasts the entire game, and I was actually just really shocked at how well it was done, and how it completely outshines the story for me.
Yeah. To the point where Lily feels like the actual main character story.
If I'm going to say something, it's because I don't believe the actual plot is that strong.
Yes, that's my thing.
Yeah.
And I think talking about spoilers is a bit risky in this one yet. Maybe we'll section that off.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we'll talk about spoilers in a bit, but you know, we'll give you maybe you can give them a time to skip through. I don't know.
Give a warning, sure. That's fair to the people who haven't finished it.
Yeah. But and to go with that, oh my god, Team Skull, what a fucking improvement from Team Flare. Team Skull are the biggest bunch of fucking idiots ever, and they are great.
It's so funny.
It kind of goes back to what I said about Team Rocket in Gen 1, where like I felt like what Pokemon had become, Gen 1 Team Rocket was almost refreshing in how simple they were, and I was so happy to see something like that again in Team Skull.
And the leader of Team Skull, Guzma, I won't talk about it right now because spoilers, but the motivations for what he's actually got real, even though he's a fucking asshole, he's an idiot. He actually has relatable.
The fact that he's a total chode.
He has relatable motivations for what he does.
Yeah, which is quite shocking. Again, coming off of Team Flare.
Oh my god, yeah.
In some ways, Team Skull's incompetence feels like a direct parody of Team Flare.
Exactly, and that's just what I beg for. To sum up their incompetence, okay? I'm gonna make fun of this one moment.
I know exactly which one.
The moment that Team Skull attempted to steal a bus sign.
They basically wanted to steal a bus stop so Team Skull members could hang out there.
The funniest shit.
Yo, if we steal the bus stop, the drivers can chill.
It doesn't
And
make any
they're just-
sense.
You get there, and they're just kind of dancing around this bus stop, and we always think, are they just like contemplating how to steal
How
this
they're
thing?
going to actually do it.
Because how do you steal a bus stop?
Oh my
Great.
god. And just their general presence with that theme song, anytime they come walking in, showing off the fucking gang signs, it's fantastic.
They're just such a bunch of, like, the first time you encounter them, every other NPC is so indifferent to their
They
presence.
don't give a shit. They're the least threatening thing, which is amazing for a team. Because anytime a team shows up, they're like, "Oh my god, there they are! No, hide the children!" But now it's like, "Oh, little Timmy, do you want to take a picture with them?"
And if I will praise this plot for the actual like story, the plot for one thing, it's not a fucking using a Pokemon to take over the world kind of deal.
Thank God.
Thank
yeah.
fuck, because that is just it's kind of been overdone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 gens in, yes.
But speaking of, I guess as a transition, well, let's talk about the
Spoiler
two rival
talk.
characters. No, not
yet.
spoiler talk. Fuck
Aw.
you. I'll tell you when I'm talking about spoilers, bitch.
Good.
Okay.
Sorry, got a bit out of control there. Talk about our two rival characters. We've got Hao, who is a delightful little ball of, how do
Joy.
you say it? Masala? Masala? I can't say it. It's actually a real treat, by the way. Look it up.
Yeah.
It's like a fried donut kind of thing. It looks really good. But he is just, he's so cheery.
He's so
But
happy.
he also
is-
deals with his own issues too, and he's a complete contrast to Gladion, the other rival, who is
It's Lord.
the edge. But he has a good. You know what? When you all is said and done, he's probably one of the smartest cast members there is.
Yeah,
He
he
has a
actually
very good
knows
reason
what
for
he's
what he
doing.
does. He has a very good reason for what he does. He really didn't have a choice, and like what he's supposed to do. I mean, I don't know what age he is, but I'm gonna assume it's pretty.
I'd say
I
around
call that on.
teens, high teens.
Yeah.
I figured like around like mid-teens because like I gathered he's the older brother of Lily and Lily's like 11. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Not really. Not when Nintendo's like,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah. Yeah, who cares? I guess it's the least
everyone
shocking
fucking
twist.
figured they were siblings from
It's
the artwork alone.
The least shocking twist in the world.
Which, I mean, again, that's one thing I'm very happy about, is that they don't try to hide that fact that it's a twist. Like not like, with Lysander or Lasagna, where it's like, oh, who is this mysterious figure as his hair is just on the top of the ceiling?
They do it with the well, since it's in the opening cutscene, it doesn't even count as a spoiler anymore. They do that with
Yeah,
the
it
Aether
doesn't.
Foundation as well, and I was so happy they did.
I'm so glad it
It's
wasn't just because by the time they showed off in the trailers, it's so obvious they're evil.
Yeah, like come on, especially the fucking evil scientist. Like Christ.
Like, look at him, got a hunched back, got the evil, scraggly face. Come on.
But what I liked about Gladion and how as well is like you very much get an idea of like why they did things, who they are, their struggles. But they didn't they didn't need to spend a lot of time on it. Like they figured they throw a couple of lines about it and it's like, oh yeah, that's really neat.
It's alluded to, but they don't straight up tell you everything.
Yeah.
There again, a subtlety I thought was lost.
Yes.
Especially after the previous gen.
Yes, exactly.
They imply some shit about Gladion, and you connected us, like, oh wow, that's actually
And that's a lot more fun that way.
But all these characters come together, and I really enjoyed the end. Again,
Yeah.
without any spoilers. All the characters come to ground, and it really feels like you're like a group, a family. It's great. I've never had that feeling with any other Pokemon game before.
Everyone comes together in the ending, and I of actual community in a Pokemon region before.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because the islands are so small, everyone feels sort of together.
Although, again, Gen 5 gives me the same vibes because there's a moment in Gen 5 where a similar thing.
Yeah.
And all the characters there are also written great. So I liked it. It reminds me of that.
On that note, like there's also like usually they throw out like a couple of lines, but like show the characters that have like history with each other, and really like because you like come into that region like from Kanto, like you're newly there, and it really feels like the region is definitely like lived in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to the region.
I mean, and they're so welcoming too. It's such a nice startup. I tell you, one thing I forgot about. Sorry.
It's fine.
But like, what I like a lot. This was my favorite thing about the start of the game, is that you get your starter, and it's like, hold on, your starter also has to pick you.
Yes.
So they set you and your starter like a couple feet apart, and there's just a couple minutes. Well, not minutes. There's a couple like a good minute or something. And it's just the two looking at each other, and it like all the crowd's watching. You can hear like the Pokemon noises in the background, and you can see the character's facial expressions. You're like, come on, and it just walks towards you, and you pick it up and you hold it in the air.
My little owl.
Fantastic. It's so fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that welcome feel. I love that, and just the general introduction of the game from. Easily, in my mind, the best professor the series has ever done.
Absolutely, no question.
Because holy shit, I love him. He is such a big figure to the entire game. All of it.
Yes.
A professor has never been this proactive in the game before, and it's really cool.
It's great to see all his hopes and dreams of what he wants to do with the island and how he wants to show the world that, yes, Alola is awesome.
And even his contrast with Guzma.
Yeah. Well, like, they both, like, lost a certain challenge.
But they had different effects on both of them.
And they deal with it in different ways.
Yeah.
Also, and I can't believe I'm mentioning this fucking game again, but he married the fucking professor of Pokemon Dream Radar.
Is that who she is?
Yes.
Yes!
I was shocked until people mentioned it on Twitter. Like a lot of people mentioned it on Twitter. That's the girl from Dream Raider. I'm like, holy shit, you're right. There she is.
That's fantastic.
It's really neat.
Reference I thought I'd never see, but it's so neat.
It works out.
God damn. All right.
I'm shocked you didn't see that yet.
I honestly didn't.
Okay.
Well, now you know.
God, I'm trying to think. Should we go into spoiler territory? I kind of want to wait for TP.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been kind of gone for a while. I'm sure he has like a little thing to mention.
I just wanted to like go back a bit to the island challenge, and I wanted to say like initially when they were introduced, like, oh, that's neat. Then I thought about it, it's like, oh, they're probably not going to be that different from the gyms, but I was like really happy that they were.
Oh my god, they're so different, and that's what makes it great.
Yeah, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, they're very unique from one another, and they all have you doing something different. That's the one big takeaway from it.
Barring the last one, which felt like it literally happened.
Yeah, it's rushed.
Well, I kind of like the explanation for that.
See, I was going to mention the kind of rush feeling around like a spoiler-ish part of the game, so I'll have to wait.
Another detail I liked about the trial too is like they very clearly mentioned that hey, the first trial you faced was directly based off of this because this is the oldest one, and I'm like, oh, that's you didn't even really need to throw out that detail, but I'm glad you did.
Honestly,
glad you did. Going back to like what I said about Gen 5 as well, everything in Sun and Moon feels a lot more like significant than it does in the regular Pokemon adventure.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'd like to throw out as well, they made the main legendary Pokemon of this game relevant to the story in a whole different way that you don't even.
Yeah, a way that actually caught me off guard. I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute.
And it actually leads to a really, really good emotional moment. And like, a legendary has never been used like this before.
It's so
holy
nice.
Shit. Oh yeah, another thing to mention. Fucking bye, champs!
Oh my god, the way they do the bye Pokemon in this game is probably one of my favorite parts.
They just straight up get rid of Hitchams, and I have never been happier.
Who needs a bike when you have a mega fast Tauros? It's so cool!
It's such a good way to get rid of HMs because like
It's also a really good way
from
of
the-
hatching eggs.
from
Oh
the
my
start.
God, yeah.
Yeah. From the start, like no one fucking liked HMs.
No.
They took up slots. You had to go out of your way to delete them in later games. You already couldn't in the first game. It pretty much necessitated HM slaves in certain parts, which is just stupid.
The only thing I would ever want from like an HM that I would just like as a regular move now at this point is Surf.
Surf, yeah.
Because Surf's a good move.
It's really solid. You could go for Hydro Pump if you wanted, but Surf just has that 100% accuracy, which is...
Yeah.
And it just covers more.
That's true.
Like, it's such a nice system.
It's very shocking. Like, I keep saying that, I'm just very shocked at how much I actually got out of Moon.
Yes, absolutely. It's fantastic. Is there anything else I want to talk about before we head into spoiler territory?
Nothing that I can really think of off the top of my head.
It's just
HMs and stuff.
Yeah,
I just like how they're
HMs,
gone.
characters, everything basically.
Oh yeah,
But,
characters. Did we talk about Team Skull?
Yes, we did.
Yes. And how
Talked
they're like
about,
the best team ever.
structure. Yes.
It's like Team Skull is like actively mocking all the like problems of Team Flare.
Yes, exactly. But yes. Now, my friends, let's get into spoiler territory.
Yeah, do not
Yeah,
worry, we
please.
will have a timer in the description for when the spoiler talk ends.
God, I
Unless
don't
it, you know,
envy
unless
Ian
you
at
know
all.
it takes up literally the remainder of the thing, in which case like X.
No, there were some other things I wanted to mention anyway. So.
Okay.
Oh
but
wow!
spoilers.
Look at you. Okay, spoilers. Okay, so main villains of the game for real are the Aether Foundation.
They kind of suck.
On the one hand, it's kind of expected after the opening cutscene.
Yes, it's not even. It's barely a spoiler, I guess.
It's not even
but,
a twist, it's the first thing you get when you launch the game.
Now, I want to say, I guess it's especially jarring compared to Team Skull in the same game, but I found the Aether Foundation to be very dull.
Very boring.
I didn't think there was much to them at all.
Well, Aether Foundation's just kind of confusing, honestly, with the members. Especially with, like, the big bad of them all.
Yeah.
There was one aspect of the whole team I liked. Well, two. I liked one that you like. You didn't like. Their base was like this like artificial island. So like unlike other Pokemon games where you pretty much just walk in the enemy base from the front door. You actually have to like.
They actually.
infiltrate them.
At first, they invite you to come over, like, hey, to show
You're
you that
right.
we have no ill intention whatsoever, I'm going to show you our little piece of land.
But you did have to. I did forget about that little section. That was really good, actually. I do like that.
And another thing that I liked about them is that because they're so obvious the fact that they're the villains. Like a moment that actually got like kind of caught me off guard was like in Route 8 or I think like there's this like little like shack thing like. And like you walk in, and suddenly you're like, "Oh, it's an Aether Foundation building." It's like, "Oh, this is a little unsettling, actually."
Yeah, but it's like didn't really have much repercussions in the end, did it?
No,
Yeah,
like,
no, it didn't. But like, I just like.
No, it was good.
And then you learn that not everyone in the Aether Foundation is necessarily like evil.
Yeah, I know,
It's
but
primarily Wick or however
However you say
Velma.
the name. What I wanted to say was, like, because of the intro cutscene, it sets, like, a presence of the Aether Foundation. Or, at the time, you don't really know if they're, like, fully evil or not, but there are points in the game where you actually kind of help them out with certain parts, and you're like, oh no, what am I doing?
yeah.
It's like, well, we couldn't have done this without you, thanks! And it's like, yeah, cool.
I feel like Aether Foundation is a much less well executed Plasma.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just
But-
I
but
have
at
to
the same
every time I think about them I gotta compare them to Plasma and I'm like they're just good.
They're not as good. No, definitely.
That being said, I'd rather take a less executed Plasma over
Well, we
Flare
previously
or
had.
Galactic.
Galactic. I mean they're
Flare
above them.
Galactic, Flare Galactic, or Neo Team Rocket.
Neo Team Rocket, yeah. I not regular Team Rocket though.
Not regular Team Rocket, but then again, that's what Team Skull's for.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I
got
think
me there.
there's a reason Team Skull's here.
Team Skull have to be my second favorite team, to be honest.
Yes, I would put them right smack in second.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
And let's talk about Banana Lady, I guess.
Yeah, because I cannot remember her name.
Lusamine?
Lusamine, is that it? Thank you.
Lasagna. Fucking.
We've already used that name before.
I don't care.
She just kind of turns out to be. I thought she was like really start, and I get she like the things she does to her children are horrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she's just a crazy bitch.
She's just kind of cuckoo.
I just hate her, like, flat out. I'm like, this character I just despise. I guess on that note, she works as a villain, but I just...
Yeah. I don't know,
confused.
like, she's a weird one, but I at least appreciate the fact that, like, unlike, say, Cyrus and Lysandre, where I hate them because I think they're terrible villains, at least with Lusamine, I just hate her because they at least made her an outright despicable person.
If there's anything to take from Lusamine, like, not so much as her own character, but for, like, her correlation to her children is the highlight. Because that kind of development you get with the children is easily the highlight of Pokemon Sun and Moon. And that I can, at the very least, like, respect. Because the things you get with her on her own as a character are not great. Especially the battle you end up getting.
I want to talk about the last battle with Lusamine. Now, first of all, they've sucked themselves up into this other fucking dimension, this wormhole thing.
Through a realm that is part of these new creatures in Sun and Moon called Ultra Beasts.
Ultra Beasts, okay, I'll get to that in a sec. Guzma also follows her for some reason and is there. And I was expecting a climatic battle against Guzma, but he just kind of goes, what's going on, and lets you pass. Kind of irritating. But you do get a post-game
in the
battle.
context, at least.
You get, understandable in the context. You get a post-game battle with him that I will talk about later, and it clears a lot of stuff up, which is very nice. Lusamine, now, this is what pisses me off, because she's obsessed with this weird fucking jellyfish Pokemon for some reason. I don't really know why.
The weird jelly Ultra Beast that kind of resembles her daughter in some way.
For some reason.
I'm not quite sure why.
You know, the thing of that, like, people thought there was going to be, like, a legit connection there or something, but there was nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
But, yeah, so, in this game, the Totem Pokemon, they've shown through these Totem Pokemon that they can do more traditional RPG bosses, and, like, I thought that's what they were building up to, like, a proper fucking boss for it once in the whole series. But what we got, she merges with one of these jellyfish creatures, she awful JRPG looking form, and then I'm like, oh my god, am I gonna fight her? And then she throws out her label at me.
And then you're like, oh.
And it's just a regular
you
Pokemon bat.
Killed it!
It is like literally the same fight you had, except her team is 10 levels higher.
And they have to wait all around them.
Whatever.
Technically speaking, like, they're all still, like, they get the same properties as Totem Pokemon, where a stat is raised.
But it's not the same.
It doesn't even feel noticeable by that point, though.
I took her out no problem. She didn't call for... The thing with Totem Pokemon was they were really buffed up, and they called reinforcements and shit.
That battle could have been better, because, you know, as they were semi-Totem Pokemon, they could have, you know, called for reinforcements, and
or something.
They're in the dimension of the Ultra Beast, Jellyfish Ultra Beast. That Jellyfish Ultra Beast could have been
a reinforcement.
Like, the Pokemon,
or at least maybe fight her.
They were swimming all over the place.
Yeah, that's another thing I want to bring up, because the game advertised these Ultra Beasts quite plainly beforehand, and it's a whole other realm of Pokemon. But the only one that has any impact in the story in the main quest is this stupid fucking jellyfish one. It's probably the lamest one out of all of them.
Yes.
And, like, we get a cutscene of the Ultra Beasts swarming the islands and the Kahunas fight them, and you think, oh, I'm gonna have to, like, stop these things for the islands, but it's like, no, just forget about it.
Forget about it, go to the fourth island, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, hold on.
No, just it's fine, just ignore it. It'll go. So this big conflict that's supposed to happen because these Ultra Beasts have been called through is just ignored.
Thought I was gonna have to help out the Kahunas, but I guess not.
I mean, there is something in the post game, but
Yeah, but that's the post.
But that's the post game.
Another thing, they said, I can't remember, someone said in the post, a nugget of information where it's like, oh, she went crazy because her husband got sucked to a wormhole or something, and I'm like, boy, that would have been great to know in the main story to give her fucking motivation.
Wait, are you serious?
Whatever. Yes.
Man, I haven't played the after game at all, so I was not aware of this.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
It's like, don't put that in the post game, put it in the main game.
Why is that not part of like the? Why did no one mention that?
Right?
And for some reason, like, it's very heavily implied that the husband is the guy who runs the...
Poképalago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if it's that guy, why don't you just bring him back at your fucking Charizard? What's the deal?
Oh, fucking Wyatt.
Yes, it's a strange, stupid twist, and it makes me kind of angry.
Okay.
But I don't know. At least again, I don't know. It's still better than I don't know the last generation.
Well,
It's
yeah,
just,
of
like,
course. It's still, for virtue of the characters alone, it's one of the best stories. But I can't call it the best story just because Black and White's plot was so much better.
Yeah, because it felt fully complete here. Like there were no things left out. I felt as opposed to Sun and Moon here, where it just feels kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, okay, I guess I beat a Pokemon, and her stupid jellyfish form just kind of fucks off, and it's like, okay.
And then she suffers no repercussions for what she did at all.
Yeah. After that, you never see her again. And
Not to the entire Aether Foundation, actually. It's just... Oh, that's fine then.
And again, it's a great moment for Lily. Absolutely awesome. But I'd still want a bit of, like, character for her, too.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, like, character, Sun and Moon is better, but in terms of overall plot structuring and, like, keeping a solid, consistent narrative, Black and White is the superior game.
And I feel like that overall package is what makes me, in the end, still think of Black and White 1 as the top.
That's my reason.
I wasn't expecting Sun and Moon to reach the top. It got close, shockingly, but because of those small slip-ups, it's still, like, very, very awesome, but not the absolute best.
I'd still call it my second favorite Pokemon game.
Shockingly.
I mean, you... Okay, obviously I'm being a bit negative here, but you heard me praise it to fuck like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You know how much I like it.
Like, it's okay to have a slip-up.
I can't overstate enough how surprised I was at Lily's character arc in particular. Like, that was so nice to see.
Yeah,
honestly.
The whole Z-Power shit was really cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
My Z-powered form.
This is my Z. I'm like, this is great.
I took my hat off.
It was kind of an emotional moment where, like, we're still in spoilers, right? So I could still talk about that ending.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a really great moment where she's like, all right, I'm going to go to Kanto, and I'm going to live out my life.
Yes.
And that's awesome. And the way that Hal reacts, how all the, like, big family characters react to it, like, it's a big goodbye. And, of course, they'll see each other again, but still, it's like, aw.
How was me? I was like, God damn, we're gonna miss her.
Yeah,
we're gonna miss her, and I don't want to miss her.
I want to hear no. Good damn it.
I also I want to talk about Guzma, and now I love Getz as an intimidating villain, but I have to say Guzma is my favorite team, and
absolutely
it's mainly the stuff you can find, and this is okay for being
after game.
An after game thing. I think it's not as important as Buzume's shit. It would have been if he was in the spotlight and the major villain,
but he was not.
But he was.
When you go into Guzma's house, you can go into his bedroom, and if you try sleeping, you can sleep in everybody's bed in this game basically, and the character reacts in different ways. And this one, it's like, oh, the bed feels like it's got like a layer of dust on it, and it's like no one slept in this a long time. It feels kind of sad. You can find like a picture on his desk where it's like he's like a really happy kid with his challenge amulet because he took the same island challenge you did. And it's obviously Guzma failed this, and he's got like, I thought it was kind of funny at first, but it's kind of sad as well. He's got a bunch of like third place trophies on his desk and one second place trophy, and it's like, oh no, Guzma.
God damn it.
Again, this relates to what happened with Kukui, because Kukui took the Kanto like gym leader challenge, and he got fucking beat.
He could not beat like any of them.
Like, I remember towards the end of the game, he at least mentioned the Elite Four and of Kanto, especially Lance.
Yeah, if he pretty much outright implies Lance completely wiped the floor with me.
Yeah, he hinted at Lance.
And like, it's interesting to see because like, well, Kukui decided to take this as like a challenge to make like Alola as a region more recognized in the same for strength in the same way Kanto is.
Guzma took it as just.
Guzma took it like Guzma like pretty much gained an inferiority complex because of it.
It's not. It's like Guzma pretty much gave up, and the thing is that's relatable because it's so easy to give up when you fail on something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
and it's something that you really want to do.
We've all been at that point.
You're just not as good at it as you like as you have to be.
Others around you clearly are.
And the thing is as well, Guzma, like, when you fight him, he is a strong trainer. He's good. He's clearly got talent.
His fucking Galiciopod is the scariest thing on Earth.
But he could never be the best. And oh my god, can I talk about Guzma's battle theme? Because it's like the best fucking music in the game. Holy shit. So fitting. And he does this stupid little squat when he's smiling.
He means business.
Oh! One more thing I forgot to talk about, not in spoiler territory, but in this, not only do you not have these stupid cardboard cutouts for trainers anymore, the trainer, both your trainer and the enemy trainer's model is in the battle there. You can see them commanding the Pokemon to move.
And thinking over their next plan, like your trainer's like kind of, what move should I do?
What? That's such a fantastic touch.
Yeah, makes the game lag like complete fuck, especially on OG 3DSs in double battles. But yeah,
but you know what? I like that. I mean, I know like some trainers like Gladion and How and especially the champion, or your final opponent in the main game. I know they get like special like anime intros.
Yes,
anime intros, like just intros.
They are anime intros.
Yeah, they basically are. But
especially Gladians.
But at the same time, like
everyone has them, and it's
everyone
great.
at least has an intro.
Yeah, I mean, they have those special anime intros because they're important characters.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing I want to talk about, and it's after you beat the Elite Four, you are the champion of Kalos, and every time you go past the Elite Four again,
it's
not Kalos. I don't know why I said Kalos. Holy fuck. Fuck Kalos. I mean Alola. You're the champion of Alola, and every time you beat the Elite Four, you have to defend your title from a random challenger. And there are a lot of challengers, but there's one I want to talk about, and it's the like one of the first youngsters you meet in the game. He comes up at the beginning of the game, and it's like you think it's just a throwaway line. He comes up to the professor and he's like, "What move should I use? Come on!" And he's like, "God, I don't know. Figure it out for yourself." And then it's the same kid who comes up and challenges you, and it's like, fucking holy hell!
It's great.
I mean, he's not exactly strong. Like I think his Pokemon are weaker than the Elite Four, but
the fact that he was able to get there in the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there another character who is completely original to the challenge thing, and
there's like this fucking Yu-Gi-Oh character.
Yeah, the dumb edgelord card fight Vanguard guy.
And he's got like a team of dragon Pokemon. Grand. It's not in anything anywhere else. He's just for this, and it's like, okay, cool.
I mean, on the one hand, it might have been interesting if they brought back Lance or something. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, it would have been, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
I just wanted to mention with like
it's just the concept in general that you can like after recounting the Elite Four, it's not just the Elite Four. It's It's not
You
just
are
the
the
Elite Four and
champion.
It's not like Steven or Cynthia or any of the champions. It's not just a repeat. It's
that's something like I've always felt with Pokemon that I didn't like. Like when you become the champion, like after the credit roll, it's always seemed like the world just reset to where like right before you like were about to be champion or something.
Yeah.
Like after you beat the Elite Four, you never actually feel like you are the champion.
But it helps for the fact that Alola just never had a champion.
Before, yeah.
Because they never had an Elite Four, and that's what I wanted to get into real quick, is that the rush thing I was talking about earlier, where like you kind of like the rushed aspect of that one trial. I actually quite liked the rushed aspect of the Elite Four, where it's kind of shittily put together.
Fuck, put these guys together.
Like, Kukui just really wanted to Elite Four, like, motherfucker, come on, we're gonna be the best island ever, we're gonna do this!
I love Kukui, holy shit.
Best professor!
And you know what? He is also like the one you face as a stand-in for the champion.
And he's got a really good team.
Yeah, it's super legit, and it has a starter Pokemon that's a counter against yours.
Yeah, it's the first time since Pokemon Red and Blue and Green and whatever where the champion outright changes his final Pokemon
to match yours.
Yeah.
It's actually I swear to God, it's the last time I bring up Gen 5, but it's one thing I really liked about Gen 5 I don't think we talked about, is that the final opponent isn't... Well, obviously we said that, but the final opponent's not the champion, it is like, you know, Anangetsus, and that, like... The credits roll after that. You never fight the champion.
Yeah, so you have to actually go back to beat the champion and become the champion.
Which is great.
In fact, the protagonist who becomes the champion of Unova is the Black and White 2 protagonist.
Yeah. Or Iris.
Yeah.
Depending on what comes first.
Yeah.
But...
yeah.
No, canonically, you are that champion.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's really cool.
And again, with the Elite Four, I like that it's, like, with one exception, people you've met before. And in half the cases, two you've fought before.
And a golfer chick.
And the golfer chick.
Yeah, the random golfer chick is like, hey, look, I got a shitty call from this guy. He wanted me to be a fucking Elite Four member. Whatever, let's get this over with.
At the very least, they had her third line. She was also someone who completed the island challenge.
Yeah.
Like, at least that made me feel like, okay, so you know, you are at least here for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would have thrown her away as like a throwaway character.
Yeah.
I mean, she's easily the most throwaway character of the Elite Four. But still.
I think it kind of just helps with the whole, like, scrapped together feeling the Elite Four has.
Yes. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I don't know. I was so floored by Sun and Moon.
It's fantastic.
It was... I wasn't expecting too much, especially considering how much we were spoiled. But I was still pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like the key word of this entire thing that I'm gonna keep throwing out until I die. Sun and Moon was just shocking to me, and that's great because I never get that feeling. It's so nice to just be wrong for once on the game quality that you expected. Probably won't be that good.
And you know what? Even though I can agree that aspect, like Black and White are probably the stronger games, and despite all of my nostalgic love for Gen 2, Gen 7 just, like, everything about that appealed to me so hard. It's my new favorite Pokemon game.
Fair the fuck enough.
Understandable.
I'm just hoping that this is not just still hype that's got us talking. I mean,
no. Like, hype was Gen 6. Like, that was complete hype talking. I was like super critical. I fought like every bit that I played through. Does this work? Oh yeah, this works. Like, you know, I was a lot more like aware of what happened previously and critical because of it. And
I don't think you understand how much I analyzed this game.
Yeah, I was not hyped for Sun and Moon initially. I picked it up, of course, because, you know, we're all the slaves.
Okay, I was hyped. I mean, midnight release. I was there.
We expect you to be hyped. It's fine.
Yeah, I got it a day after.
I got it 2 days early, technically.
I
Still
got,
3 days after
but-
everyone else got it.
I got it 5 days. I think I got the last out of everyone here.
Ha.
Haha.
But
Fucking Europe.
even then, just so much that went into it. I felt it was definitely the improve. Like I would say like I was a bit more cautious, I guess. But and especially after again, First Island has salamence that you can catch at level 10.
Christ.
I was a patient motherfucker for that.
Was it with Salamence in appearing early game?
Well, it's a really rare encounter, okay? You have to get into an
but
SOS
first
battle
Super
with a
Mystery
big
Dungeon
guy.
and now this. Like, what the fuck? By the way, like, something else I
Not
forgot to
even
mention.
Super Mystery Dungeon. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire with the freaking Mega Salamence.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. But one thing I wanted to mention, because we mentioned before that Gen 6 was so fucking easy. Thank God Pokemon got some fucking teeth back.
Yeah, it's actually reasonably difficult in Gen 7, thank God.
Yeah.
Gen 7 probably is one of the tougher main games in the Pokemon game.
Which is
Mhm.
pretty surprising. I had to warn my parents, hey, watch yourself. This ain't a child's game anymore.
Especially, like, the Totem Lorantis battle fucked me up.
The Totem Lorantis battle, the Totem Mimikyu battle.
Mimikyu for me was the one I really got.
Mimikyu's the only one where I actually had to be a bit cautious.
Yeah, no, Gen 7 is... I'm so happy I can say that Gen 7 is so good.
Absolutely.
I do think...
Not to mention, the game is more built around the EXP share being this time around.
But by the way, I wanted to bring this up as well, because, Pokemon hasn't done the third version since Platinum, but with, like, how underutilized the Ultra Beasts are and, like, a couple of other smaller things, this game feels like it's setting up for a third, like, the stars that's been rumored.
I would actually kind of like a third version of Sun and Moon.
I would like one too, but I am not going to hype one up. I'm going to wait it out. If they do make one, good.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know. I feel like that is very, again, especially with the Switch being a new console, like them saying they want some Pokemon on there. Like, I don't know. I feel like everything's in the cards from that. And hey, with fucking grown up Red and Green and Lily going to Kanto, come on Nintendo, let's finally do it. Let's make Pokemon 2. Kanto sequels, baby.
God.
Pokemon 2.
Pokemon
Let's
2.
make Pokemon 2 happen.
It's called Pokemon 2.
Pokemon's
Just
finally
called
good enough to get Pokemon 2.
Pokemon's so good. Why is there no Pokemon 2?
Is there going to be a Gen 1 to Pokemon 2?
God.
But yeah.
Anyway, I think that covers Sun and Moon.
Yeah, that covers everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also the anime.
Oh, add more to what I have to edit. Go ahead.
Okay, we can just end it here. We can just end it here.
The anime's retarded, but the Sun and Moon season's pretty cool.
Sun and Moon is surprisingly good. I recommend.
I
It's
remember
really hard, good watch.
I remember X and Y at least ending on a. Well, at least the climax of the X and Y anime was actually not all terrible.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
I've heard good things about the X and Y anime, but like, I don't know, Sun and Moon like takes Pokemon in a more slice of life direction. It works really well. They go for a new animation style, and it works
so much better.
Despite what people will say on it looking terrible, which I still don't get.
Oh, look,
I get some frames look whatever, but
I pointed out
similar frames, not in motion. In motion,
it looks fantastic in motion.
I pointed out in between in the smear frame, guys. Look, it's bad animation. I'm an animation critic.
I know what animation means. That word, it means still frames, right?
Yeah.
Not the act of moving?
Like,
no, that's stupid.
No,
like if you pause and get a really, really messed up like frame or whatever, that's one thing. That's not bad animation though.
That's just
It's
just
probably
every show in existence.
That is just
not a frame you're supposed to see. Have you seen like early Buzz? The frames you get on those, amazing. The funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, or frames on what?
Old Simpsons.
Oh yes.
Like season. Well, 1 and 2 are just kind of bad, but like season 3 to like 8, just look at all the smear frames. Oh my god,
beautiful.
Oh.
Anything with Homer, yes.
I was just gonna say something like, even like early cartoons, like early Warner Brothers.
Yes, everything, or fucking Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, I can't consciously recommend anything else about the Pokemon anime. No, maybe X and Y, I've heard good things, but I haven't seen a single
If you're gonna watch X and Y, don't watch it dubbed. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my god, the video comparing the dub to like the original sub is disgusting.
Yeah.
Sub's got these crazy guitars going on, and it's like an epic battle, and then the dub cuts in, and it's like, use Shadow Ball.
Use Kite!
Use Kite!
So far, the Sun and Moon anime is something that I can heartily recommend.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I will heartily recommend real quick is the manga. Pokemon
Manga's
Adventures. Look it up. It's really good, especially the Gen 3 arcs. They're amazing.
Yes.
I heard the best things about the Gen 3 arcs.
They're really good.
It's actually like a super serious storyline for like all the Gen 3 arcs, and it's like so surprising.
Okay. I may have to check that out then.
Yeah.
So our recommended list. Super Mystery Dungeon.
Yes.
Gen 3 manga.
Yes.
Sun and Moon subbed.
Yes.
Look, we recommend everything that isn't Gen 4 or Gen 6.
Yeah.
And even then, we recommend Gen 4 over Gen 6.
Yeah, and if you're gonna play 1 and the 2, just play Gen 4.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't believe I said that.
Sure, go ahead. Play Gen 4.
But like just in terms of the main games, that's how I would rank them. X and Y, like bottom.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. I almost feel bad for putting it this low, but Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Yeah, same for me.
That's fine. It's simple.
For me,
again, dude, the first games, I don't blame you.
ORAS, Black and White 2, Black and White 1, Hard Gold, Soul Silver, and I still can't believe Gen 2 has finally been top for me, Sun and Moon.
For me, it's from best to worst, Black and White, Sun and Moon, Black and White, and Sun and Moon, Black and White, no, ORS, then Black and White 2, then Heart Gold Soul Silver, then Red, Blue, Yellow, fucking, I guess Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, except don't play Diamond or Pearl ever. Just if you're going to play one, if you play Platinum.
Yeah, Platinum's easily Diamond and Pearl just are irrelevant now.
Then Platinum's no magnum opus level, mind
Shut up.
Then
it's the better
Shut up. Down there, way down there, X and Y. Don't play.
I am the same list as Owen, except switch Black and White 2 and Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Fair enough.
I need to okay,
Shit.
Fuck.
Shit. All you need to know is freaking, I'd probably either put ORS or Heart Gold and Soul Silver at the top, honestly.
I actually put a list on Twitter. After doing this podcast and rethinking things, again, changed my order slightly, just put Gen 3 higher.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Alright, well...
Fair enough.
I guess in the end, it really doesn't matter.
It matters to me.
Sun and Moon...
Top 3 gens, Gen 3, 5, 7, there you go. Odd numbers win, woo.
Yeah.
Every even gen that isn't 2 is kind of shitty.
It's terrible. Oh no.
Damn, you're right though. 4 and
which makes me worried now for the next.
It's gonna be shit.
Oh no.
Yep.
Now we know what to buy it.
You're right.
Great.
Except we will.
Yeah.
Except we will.
Slaves.
Yeah, we are gonna buy it.
Now, do you have your list, TP, or no?
No, I don't think I need it. My list is Pokemon Explorers of Sky.
Oh god, no!
No, don't include those, because then it gets too complicated.
Just main games, for Christ's
Main
sake.
games.
All right. Again, I probably would just. I probably would still just pick either. I might pick Oras actually for the top spot.
Damn.
Totally fair. It's pretty legit.
Yeah.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver after. Probably go with in the Oris, then Heart Gold Soul Silver, then Black and White.
Okay. All right.
Sun Moon. Black 2 and White 2.
Red, Blue, Yellow. Diamond and Pearl.
Platinum.
No, okay, I need to remember. I need time. Damn it. Freaking. I guess not X and Y. Why was X?
X and Y at the
Yellow.
bottom. Let's establish that.
Okay, X.
Just
Well,
you prefer Gen 1 or 4? That's the only question left remaining.
All right. Platinum, Yellow, Gold, Gold and Silver, X and Y.
Okay.
All right. There you go then.
Again,
I love how the one consistent thing, by the way, is the fact that X and Y is at the very bottom for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, looking back. I mean, I still like it, but
It's okay.
maybe I just have too much of a nostalgic thing for Gold and Silver.
It's okay, TP.
It's okay. I'm here for you.
As long as we all.
But yeah, this podcast is nearly total up to 5 hours, so I think we're done.
Right, before TP starts crying.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
But in all seriousness, I'm glad Sun and Moon were great.
Yes.
I'm hoping that some of the stuff, like especially with like the Poke Rider, I hope they keep this consistent. Like they keep this for later generations. What if they remake Sinnoh, but without both the Poke Rider?
Well, it would still be shit. Don't worry.
Well, a major issue would have already been resolved at least.
Look, okay.
Not to mention, it'll probably be faster because of better technology.
I think
that's enough.
I think we've had enough. Enough.
Right,
End it. Let's not make Ian's job harder.
Please.
Final thought. Okay, final words, whatever.
Bye.
I like Pokemon.
I love Pokemon!
I love Pokemon.
I love Pokemon.